as well. Today, the voter registration process kickstart, and so you have across the country such a process should be observed, and I'm sure some of you've been able to go out to do the process. You've experienced how they look like, and also some of you have not been able to do what you should do in terms of going through the process. But we'll go across Liberia to talk to some of our local correspondents to know exactly how is it and how the process are in some parts of the country. So we'll go to some of our local correspondents. We'll talk to them as well on the show. Following that, we'll speak with the communication person from the National Elections Commission, Henry Flomo. We'll speak to him as well to know what are the measures put in place so as to give just the needed in terms of what requires of them in terms of after the process, or in terms of having a very unique process. So we'll talk to him. Mind you, we'll go to our international correspondents to talk to our international correspondents from across the world tonight, to talk to them, know what are the issues making rounds in some of the areas, what are the issues making news in some of their countries that they're going to be joining us tonight on the show. And we will do that as well. It's a regular feature on the program, Issues of Today, here on Voice of Liberia 104.1. Following that issue, a very important discussion will emerge later on at 7, at which time we're going to have two of Liberia's best youth leaders. They're going to join us here tonight. We're going to talk about lots of issues of importance. They're going to join us here tonight. And so we will be looking at cross section of issues. Our discussion will center around the overall performance of the George Weah-led administration, ranging from 2018 to present, with a spotlight on the pillow of the CDC manifesto. Mind you, the CDC came up with a manifesto. There are lots of things they've said into it. And why the opposition should or should not be trusted with Liberia in 2024. We'll also wait in to see what Unity Party has in terms of a manifesto for the Liberian people. And out of the pillow from the CDC government, we've been able to earmark few of them, namely 4 of them, which we're going to dig deep into it, which has to do with power to the people, that talks about education and training, health and sanitation, gender equality, youth reorientation and empowerment, physically challenged and senior citizens, which is under one of the pillars. And we're also going to move on to pillar 2, where we're going to talk about the economy and jobs, sustain economic growth, agriculture and forestry, infrastructure development. And we're going to look at all these things to know the performances and also getting the thoughts coming from the opposition. And we'll also dip into pillar 3 that talks about sustaining the peace. And that's going to be one of our major discussion points, because no matter what we do, we can disagree to agree. We can do all we can do. But there's one thing we need to maintain in our country, which is the peace. So we cannot do these things without the peace. So the 2 young men will sit here tonight to speak to their partisans. Let them know that no matter what the issues are, our differences politically, but it is just important to maintain the peace. So they will be here. We'll look at peace, security, national defense, human rights under the pillar 3. Then we'll end up on pillar 4 that talks about governance and transparency. So the 2 distinct individuals, they're Liberia's best, the National Youth Chair of the Congress for Democratic Change in person of Emmanuel Moluba Johnson will be our guest at 7. He sits along with um, the youth chair of Unity Party in person of Toga Melvin Cephas. Toga Melvin Cephas is the national youth chair of the Unity Party. And so the two young leaders will sit here tonight from 7 to 9 to give Liberians reasons why their political institutions should be taken serious over other political institutions as we move towards the October elections. Mind you, the process kickstarts today, and so this year is just about electionary year. You will listen to lots of things coming from all across the length and breadth of Liberia. You will listen to the politicians. They will say all the big things to you, and it is the time. We take a message, and it is now, but this is what the president has been able to say. We're going to play it and be right back on the show. So let's take this message and let's get it prepared. Then after the message, we'll go to talk to the communication person of the National Elections Commission, so that we can know what is it in terms of the process that has started today. So we will do it, and so mind you, the president has been able to give a message about the process. So we'll play you the president's voice as well. Following that, we go, folks. Let me tell you something. There's something that I won't say it today, but we've investigated. It involves one of the sitting lawmakers. One of the sitting lawmakers. We have the facts, but we... Okay, let's take this message and be right back.
Fellow Liberians, my name is George Manuel, President of the Republic of Liberia. The National Elections Commission is beginning a very important exercise from March 20. Citizens of Wapolo, Bome, Kipman, Grambassa, Magibi, and Mosovaro counties will register to vote. And from April 21st to May 11, 2023, the citizens of Bon, Guanjide, Grand Cru, Lofa, Maryland, Nimba, River Cess, River G, and Sano counties will do theirs. Let's inform our family members, friends, and neighbors aged 18 and above. Liberians, you have the power. To maintain your power, you have to register to vote. This is George Manuel, President of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay, that is it from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia. A message to you Liberians. And let me say this as we prepare to go to the communication person of the National Elections Commission, Henry Flomo. On behalf of Voice of Liberia, I want to encourage every Liberians of age 18 and above to go out in their numbers to register. All of what we will say, all of what we will do, all the things we will say, we want this person to be the next representative, we want this person to be the next president, we want this person to be the next senator. It depends on what you do today. If you cannot be captured, definitely you won't be given the time, or there will be no time for you to vote. So meaning you will just be among the people to make the numbers, but you will not be eligible to vote. Please go out in your numbers. Go to all the centers that have been opened by the National Elections Commission. Go and do what you have to do to register so that you can be factor. Don't be one of the persons that I've known for some time. You know, they used to be supporting an individual, but they were not eligible to vote. So they were the ones that could make all the noise and everything. Oh, we want this person. But at the end of the day, they were not in the position to vote. So instead of you to be just a messenger, you need to be part of the process to make the decision as well. So we go to the communication person of the National Elections Commission on the line tonight. On the line is Mr. Henry Flomo. Good evening, Mr. Flomo, and thank you for joining us tonight. Hello? Okay, let's look at it. Let's get it off the system, right? I know I was informed they were out of Monrovia. I hope it is not because of the network that. Let's try. If we can, we'll go to our correspondents. We'll go to Bombing County to talk to Esther Johnson, who is Voice of Liberia correspondent in Bombing. We'll speak to her to know how the process started in the county today, and also we'll go to. We'll also go to Bapulu. We'll go to Mangibi to talk to some of our correspondents there to know how the process started. Let me go, if we can have the communication person. Apparently he's making his way, let it be from far to reach areas. Mind you, these are the difficult times, will be busy for them. So you don't blame, when you're reaching out at times. But I'm sure this time now we're having. Mr. Henry Flomo, good evening. What's happening? What's happening? I'm not too sure. It is from apparently it is from his end. Let's go to the okay. So it is from his end. Let's go to the correspondence. Let's go to Bombing County to talk to Esther Johnson. We want to know how the process started in some of the counties where Liberians came out in their numbers. If they did to register, all that thing we can be talking, all that thing that can be happening at the time here to show whether you will be in the process or you won't be in the process. So go out in your numbers, go and register and vote for whosoever you want to vote for. Let's go to the line and talk to Esther Johnson. Esther is Voice of Liberia correspondent in Bombing. Esther, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening to you.
It feels good to have you. How is Bombing tonight?
Bombing is good. This amazing Monday evening. Bombing is fine.
Okay. You want to give us a clear picture of how the, registration process started today in Bombing County? Did you see a huge turnout or it was something just unexpected?
Well, citizens of Formula were aware. I mean, we use the radio to carry on a lot of webinars. Even before the process began this morning at 8 o'clock, I was on the radio this morning around 6 to 7, and I was still acknowledging the people and encouraging them and telling them the reasons why it is important enough so that they can turn up in number and go and get registered. And what makes you to know, when I left the radio at 7 a.m. this morning, I visited a few sites, and I saw, I was impressed that I saw a lot of our citizens, I mean, the old folks, the disabled community, the pregnant women, baby mothers, interesting that even some students. Students were in a uniform. Yeah, they were in a uniform. They went, I mean, they stood on the queue, and they made sure that they registered, and they were proud to post. I saw some posts from most of the students. The posted on our social media page. I mean, as a means of spreading the message of awareness, they are encouraging people to go and get registered. I mean, the process has begun in the county. It's begun today officially. It started at 8, from 8 to 6, and tomorrow again the guys will be at a various sites where citizens who never had a chance today to go and get registered. Tomorrow they will take advantage of it. I mean, this process is welcoming, and like I told you, before the process, we've been carrying on a lot of webinars. I mean, using the social media platform, using the radio most especially, encouraging our people so that they can go and get registered, because they were interested to know that by having access to the cards will make you eligible to cast in your vote favor. So it is very much important for citizens to go and get registered, because if you have this card, it's not only important on election day, but also be important for you doing some financial transactions at their bank site. So it is very much important.
Okay, Esther, Esther, let's look at some of the things that you've heard from some of the people today. Were there complaints as to the process being very slow, or there were delays, or were there other complaints that you listened to the people giving out?
Well, no, I not really observed that. I talked to a few people on the pool, in the queue, and they never really expressed disappointment according to the activities, the way they have been carried on or handled. They appreciate the guys there, and they are doing extremely well, and citizens are impressed. So today, like I told you, the process just started. So we are yet to get some complaints of delays and what have you, but we will still be facing the start as the process continues.
Esther, I want to say thank you for joining us tonight on the show. Thank you very much. Esther Johnson is Voice of Liberia correspondent there in Bomi County. We go to Gbapulu to talk to the man Samuel King. We want to know as well how is it in Gbapulu County. Gbapulu, I don't want to say this, but I think it's one of the remote areas where sometimes you experience some other things, but I don't want to say it is in this case. So I'm going to go to Gbapulu County to speak with the man Samuel King, who's going to tell us about the entire process today in the county and days to come, what he envisaged about the ongoing voter registration in that part of the country. Voice of Liberia issues of today is what you're listening to, 104.1. My name is Sekou Sharif, and we're trying to establish contact with our Gbapulu County correspondent. We return, we go to Mangibi, and we also try to get the communication persons for the National Elections Commission. When we are through, we go straight to the international desk to talk to our international correspondents about what's happening. On the line is Samuel King. Samuel, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight from Gbapulu County.
Yeah, good evening, Sheku, and good evening, Liberia.
It feels good to have you tonight. We're there in Bopolu, other parts of the area are visited. How is the atmosphere in the county as we speak?
Well, Gbapulu is relatively kind. We bless God ever so much. There is no threat, no issues pertaining to violence. Gbapulu is relatively kind.
Good to hear that coming from the county. Let's talk about the ongoing voter registration process that kickstart today in the country, particularly in Gbapulu County. How did it start?
Well, ahead of the voter registrations, the biometric voter registrations, the National Elections Commission local office here in Gbapulu County were able to deploy 242 registration staff across the 3 electoral districts here in Gbapulu County. The 75 registration center. So today the process started. I think I visited one or two center, Bobo Central High, where they have one of the center, and I also visited Gedema, which is in Gongbia Chiefdom. I visited that place too as well. Well, the turn-up is very much encouraging because more people actually, the new card, they are encouraged, to have it. They said they really want to have a new voter registration card.
When you visited some of the areas you just mentioned, were there complaints or the people were in a very good mood and thinking that this is just the right time to do what they're doing?
I think there was one center that I visited. There was a problem, but I think that was settled later. And that is Genema, the center in Gongbia Chiefdom. They have problem with the picture, more especially because the team leader said they have problem with the electricity because the solar panel was not charged accordingly, but later on that was settled.
So did the process start within time, or there were little delays based on the locations, or what?
Well, I can say that the process didn't start late. It started in time because for Bobo Central High, it started bright and early this morning. Let me say around 8 o'clock, the process was ongoing.
So citizens came out in their numbers.
Yeah, like I said, the turnout is very much encouraging. Yeah, for Bobo Central High School because it's within the city. So the turnout is encouraging. Unlike Guinea, when I went there, the people were just coming because they said some of them are farming. There is the farming season. So many of them are leaving their farm to actually come and do their registration.
Thank you very much, Samuel King. Hope to be in the county very soon.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh.
Thank you very much. He's Voice of Liberia, Bapolu County correspondent there. We'll go to Housing Wa, who's in Margibi County. We want to know how did it go today in Margibi. Then we go now to Sumwedex, the national biometric registration process in the country. We want to encourage every one of you. Your vote, your power. Your vote, your voice. Some of y'all be talking, say we'll do this, we'll do that. You don't go register. You get talk free. So no one will listen to you and you won't be taken seriously. So we encourage you to go out, to listen to some of the areas. We've spoken to our correspondents. They say they turned out very encouraging. Liberians, they've turned out in our numbers to, be part of the process so that they can be, captured. And so October 10, they'll be able to go and elect those whoever they want to elect as their next leaders of Liberia. Mind you, this is not just the regular elections. It is a joint election. You have representative. You have the representative. You have the executives in terms of you have the presidency. You have the legislative elections where people will go to be, representatives, senators. You have all of that. So we go now to talk to Housing Wa, who is Voice of Liberia correspondent there in Margibi County. Housing, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sekou Sherry. Good evening to our listeners.
Thank you for joining us. Where are you currently in Margibi as you speak to us?
As I speak to you, I'm reporting from one of the centers in Margibi 2nd District, precisely the Haber Rise 1 Center at the Haber Multilateral High School in Margibi District 2.
Okay, sounds good. Give us a picture of how the entire process started this morning. Were there complaints or people went in and do what they needed to do within time?
Yeah. On today, we begin tour to the various centers, the 27 centers within Margibi District 2. We visited 10 of the 27 polling centers in Margibi District 2. And the start of the process were kind of difficult for workers of NEC. Most of their materials well, giving some problems from the start of the process. But around 2, 3 o'clock, we saw the smooth run of the process, and some citizens expressed disappointment. Some commend the process, noting that today is the first day. Sometimes you find difficulty within the process.
So there were too many complaints, or people, there were not that complaints because you have the very first day and you have some other, minor mistakes.
Yeah, most of the complaints from residents and citizens of this district, they were concerned about the slow start of the process. Many of the persons we spoke to today, they mentioned about the slow pace of the process, most especially started on today. But they appreciated the NEC and that of those persons doing the work. But we didn't see much from today. All we see from the start of the process was a slow pace, but around 2 o'clock, 2 to 3, we saw that kind of smooth run of the entire process. The people were not really turning out today in their number to do the registration process. Perhaps today is the first day, so people maybe are giving a try, or people are still waiting to see how the process will go on.
Thank you very much, Alvin, for joining us tonight. Okay, he's Voice of Liberia correspondent there in Mangibi County. We'll leave Liberia now to go to our international desk to talk to our international correspondents. Can we try the communication person one time, and then if we don't have him, then we go to our international desk to talk to our international correspondents on the program tonight. Getting to know what's happening around the world is only on Voice of Liberia. 104.1. Let's go back to Henry Flomo, who's the head of communications at the National Elections Commission. We want to know what are the measures put in place, maybe some of the minor errors or problems, for a better word, could be settled based on what we're hearing from some other areas. What is it? Let's go on the line now to talk to Henry Flomo. Good evening, Mr. Flomo, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, we've been making all efforts to get you on the line, but apparently you've been caught in the middle. How is the process today? How is the National Elections Commission, first of all?
Yeah, commission is okay. Commission is okay.
Okay, the commission is okay. Now, today, the National Elections Commission kickstart the biometric voter registration process in the country. Will you mind telling us more about the process? What is it you're getting from the field today?
Well, generally, we got a good report. Though there are a few problems, but generally we have a very good report. These were anticipated that there will be 1 or 2 issues, especially from the first day, and also especially where we dealing with new technology. So on the overall, I think it's a good start. It's part of the problem.
So what do you do to solve some of the problems that are coming from some of the areas across the country?
Some of the problems are not beyond us, but it's an issue of centers. Some of the centers, problem of actual delivery, constructive delivery problems. Also problem with some of the areas, maybe the guys are slow. Obviously, these are new technologies. They will be slow. So because once the first day people want to do their work, so once there is a delay, and you get a lot of people getting the queue and being frustrated. But the messages continue that besides today, you still got 20 more days to go, and days include Sundays. So we just got to keep telling people to be a little bit, patient. We'll work throughout the week, those Sundays. So if you didn't succeed today, you can always go tomorrow. Those who are issue of centers, will resolve them as quickly as possible. So the problems are not beyond us. Some of the areas you hear, maybe the machine could not print, and maybe maybe somebody just forgotten
these things were expected, but at least the good thing is that they are not beyond our control. It's just a matter of time.
Now, some of the areas, the people complained that the process did not start within time. Were there problems leading to such that the process could not start within time in some of the areas, or maybe it was just one of the minor mistakes you just made mention of?
Yeah, some like I received a call, for instance, from somewhere in Tennessee, in Grand Cape, for instance. So the guy said, but some of the things were not independently verified, though. But again, you have to just take everything and make your own. But the guy said that when our workers went, they were told that the center has changed. So they were sitting, waiting for order from our headquarters or from the magistrate. You know, those kind of problems. So I could not verify, and I could not get it verified as quick as possible. So what I told him was, can you please educate? Because the fact that you can call, it means you are at some level in terms of understanding. Can you educate the people that, look, this is just the first day, and after today, you take 20 more days, and those days include the Sundays, you know, so that you can calm the situation on our behalf. You know, and I figured out that, you know, that works, you know. But I'm sure by now,
that should take me into this issue, because myself has been I've been thinking about this. Are there been new areas added, or there are demarcations made in the process where, for example, if you were in district number 8 and portion of district number 8 now is being cut off and sent out to district number 9, where you will have centers with district number 9, you know, stuff on it where people going to go and register, they are from district number 9. Did anything of such happen under the National Elections Commission with this entire process?
Well, the first thing is we still maintain our 2080 precinct.
Okay.
For this time, we will say center. Precinct will start coming when we're getting closer to election. So there have been no addition, even though we have loved to have more so that we can reduce the distances our people walk to reach the centers, and the cluster manner in which some of the centers are. So it remains the same, and also more than 80%, according to my GIS technician, more than 80% of those 2080 are still retained in the same areas. The few percentages from that are like, for instance, based on population growth, based on concentration and redistribution of population activities. Some centers were relocated, all right, to ease to ease, distances, and also to ease populations.
Okay.
So those were some of the
let me
some were also relocated inadvertently by mistake. All right. So
I didn't get you well. I didn't get you well. You said.
I didn't get that.
Yes, you said something. I didn't get you. You said somewhere where what?
Somewhere mistakenly, inadvertently relocated or given different names. So we've been resolving those things.
Okay, let me bring this to your attention, Mr. Flomo. I have before me, it says Madam Wata Allison Memorial Town Hall. And this place is located somewhere in the Cardwell Belt and is around Taylor Mayor compound. According to statistics in my possession, this place has been under District 15, but this time it is being placed under District 11.
Okay, so and I'm just saying that I may not be able to speak to the specific issue you are raising, but generally I'm saying some were done mistakenly.
Okay.
and some were intentional.
And I will share with you the story, because the reason why I'm asking, there have been some concerns raised, and there are some other allegations which I won't mention here, but I will also share with you and give you some detail of it.
I'm not going to do that.
I said I will share with you what I'm speaking of, and also some other details concerning what has happened, because there has been some concern and allegations. But once you say that sometimes these things happen by mistake, so I will bring it to your attention.
Yeah, I'm saying, and we have errata, and we even published errata of where inadvertent relocation or misplacement of codes were happening. So we were the first to make it public, so it's not like it's strange, no.
Okay.
And yeah, so we have our errata. For instance, like in the Kakata area, for instance, somewhere in Cape Mount, another in Bikina. So yes, we have had several of them that were mistakenly, relocated.
Okay.
And I'm saying a few of them. So I don't know if where you're talking about force in the mistaken aspect, or
maybe I will share with you
the intentional. But so those that were intentionally done, those are the reasons I'm giving. For instance, let's say the place you named was somewhere that used to have maybe 500 person registering maybe 10 years ago, and now you get maybe like 10,000 person registering for the past 2 elections. So, and then you also have a center maybe closer to that where they still maintain their lower number of maybe 300 person. So how do you relieve some of these? Like some we have like thousands of people registering cluster area. So what do? Do you take a center from a community where you have always had now more than 400 person, to take it to where you have thousands of people turning out and being clustered in 1 or 2 centers, to increase it to 3 centers.
Okay.
So now, for those 300 person to walk to the thousands of people area, it makes a lot of sense. So these are some of the reasons that informed the very few centers that were relocated, but there's no increase in numbers, but there were very few relocations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Henry Flomo, for joining us. And we hope we can have these kinds of conversations always, as to inform the Liberian people about the activities of the National Elections Commission.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. He's the communication director at the National Elections Commission. We'll go to Sierra Leone now to talk to the man, John Wayfield, on this development coming from Sierra Leone, where 1.89 million women 15 years and older are at risk of developing crucial cancer in Sierra Leone. This is a recent revelation according to the WHO Global Strategy Towers. It has to do with sometimes the news towards eliminating cancer as public health problem, and now indicating that cancer is the most common, sicknesses in that country among women living with HIV and AIDS in Sierra Leone. John Wayfield is Voice of Liberia, Sierra Leone correspondent. John will tell us more about this development here tonight on the program. John, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Peko.
John, start by giving us a statistical idea of its impact in your country, as it has to do with 1.89 million women, some 15 and above, developing something called cancer.
So this is about cervical cancer, and according to our data, it shows that every year in Sierra Leone, we have an estimated 299 women who are being diagnosed with cervical cancer. And the worrying part is that out of these 299, 242 die from the disease itself. And you know, cervical cancer ranks as the second most frequent cancer among women in Sierra Leone. And also, interestingly, it is the second most frequent cancer among women in Sierra Leone aging between 15 and 44 years of age. So, statistically, this is the data, and this data is worrying.
Why is it that this high amount HIV women victims, what are they missing in such ongoing situation?
So interestingly, and this is a reality, reports show that women with the human immunodeficiency virus, which is HIV, are 6 times more likely to develop cervical cancer than women without HIV. And in fact, the HIV is responsible for around 5% of all cervical cancer cases worldwide. So Sierra Leone is of no exception, and it is also the leading cause of death among young women living with HIV. And therefore, with this particular premise, it simply tells you that the data is really in place, and it shows that women with HIV are exposed, women with HIV, are more susceptible to get this particular type of cancer. And interestingly, again, people, the myth and misconception around the HIV. So many who have HIV do not go for the antiretroviral. And so therefore they're exposed and they develop it. And we know that the cancer is caused by what we call the human papilloma virus. So this is the reality with women with HIV.
This is Karen in Sierra Leone, looking at the way things are happening in terms of a health issue in most of the African countries. What is the Bill's administration doing to address such a alarming issue in the country?
So through partners, what I can tell you is that we have partners in Sierra Leone on the side of health that are helping women with cervical cancer. And one way they are doing it is to ensure that they do free screening for them, and also for those who should undergo operations, to see how best they can raise funds for them. On the part of government, through the health ministry, they have been educating and encouraging people to take the antiretroviral or rather go for HIV tests. I'll tell you, a huge chunk of the population do not know their status. They don't know their status because of the scariness around it. The last time I reported the high number in HIV, especially among young people. So I'm pretty sure government is doing its part, but I can authoritatively also tell you that non-governmental bodies are mostly doing their part with helping women with free screening and operations as well.
Thank you very much, John Warfield, there from Sierra Leone on the program tonight about this, not too good report coming about this. We wish those of the people in Sierra Leone all the best, and hope that that can be curtailed to a certain level. We go to Ghana, where we told the finance minister of Ghana has left the country for China. What is it that he has been able to leave Ghana to move to China? What are the issues? We're going to talk to Jonas Biarobi, Voice of Liberia, Ghanaian correspondent tonight, to talk to us on the line from Ghana to give us an insight of the Ghanaian finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta trip to to China. So we're going to go to him to talk to him tonight. Jonas Biarobi is Voice of Liberia, Ghanaian correspondent. He's going to tell us more about the Ghanaian finance minister trip to China. He joins us now on the line. Jonas, good evening.
Good evening, Seko.
It's good to have you. I'm told the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Ghana, Ken Ofori-Atta, has left the country for China. What is the finance minister mission to China all about?
Well, thank you so much for the time this evening. Shoku, it's very simple. Ghana's economy is in shambles, and he, the finance minister, as the leader of the economy, is actually leading a delegation to China because the country is seeking an IMF bailout, and the IMF have given conditions that our debt is too high, and then if they are going to give us any bailout, it means that all we are going to use to pay anything we are going to generate in the country, we'll be using all to pay our debts, and it means our economy will take a very long time before it will come together. And so for that matter, they requested for a debt restructuring, both domestically and externally. So the domestic debt restructuring have been done, even though it faced a lot of resistance from the public. But right now, the finance minister wants to go to China because China is the country that the country owes a lot. Ghana owes China a lot, and so they want to go and have some talks with them and see whether they could add in some of the debts that Ghana owes to them, so that we'll be qualified to be able to get an IMF deal to come and cushion Ghana's economy.
What is the negotiation between Ghana and the IMF that your minister is seeking debt restructuring?
So it's very simple. Once your economy is broken down, once you do not have any strength or any other means to revive your economy when it is broken down, some places like the IMF are where you run to go and seek for support. And so when the country went to IMF somewhere last quarter of 2021, the IMF, upon assessing Ghana's economy, realized that, well, we will support you, but due to certain factors, if you do not put certain things in place, it means that we cannot support you. So Ghana need like $3 billion from them to be able to come and revive our economy. And so the simple thing is that Ghana needs support from IMF to come and revive the economy, but because of some of the conditions given, and we are yet to meet the conditions, it's been hanging for almost like 6 months now, and we are expecting that it's been extended like 2 times, and IMF and Ghana is supposed to seal their deal by the end of March. Today is 20th, and yet our finance minister is still going to have a discussion with China before if they can forgive some of the debts. Mind you, with the external debts that we are going to restructure, after speaking with some countries, the countries are demanding that Ghana speaks with China because China is the one who the country owes more. And if China is able to forgive some of the debt, then other countries that the country owes little amounts would also see if they would also want to forgive us some of the debt, but it is not something that is assured. And so Ghana needs support from IMF to come and revive the economy.
Jonas, what has been the reaction from Ghanaians about the IMF bailout?
Of course, it's not pleasant news to Ghanaians because of 2 major issues. One is that for the domestic restructuring, it means that many people who have invested in government bonds in the country are going to lose their money. And so it faced a lot of resistance. And many people have tried, but in the end, government has been able to use some power, but some managed to escape it. And so for whoever who has shares or bonds with the government, it means that when they are restructuring the debt, you will not get any payment until the next 4 years before they will begin to pay you. And so the public is not happy. Secondly, because for the fact that the current president, Akufo-Addo, has assured the country that he has the men that are going to revive Ghana's economy. He has the men that can actually work better for the country, especially during the COVID period where he promised everybody that he can always revive the economy, but he cannot bring lives back. But unfortunately, 2 years on after COVID, the country's economy kept deteriorating, and so almost everybody has been backlashing the government. And worst of it all is that now that the country needs money to cushion the economy so that the macroeconomic indicators will be stable, President Akufo-Addo and his government kept increasing their appointees, and that is why Ghanaians are not happy about now we are going for support from IMF while we...
Okay, Jonah. Thank you very much, Jonah Biarubi from Ghana on the program tonight. We'll go to the Gambia to talk to our correspondent in the Gambia, the Mayor Amadou Kante. Then we'll go to Lesotho. No time we need to go. So we go to Gambia, where I'm told Banjul's Lord Mayor, like the same we have here, the Lord Mayor, the city mayor, or whatsoever, has filed a lawsuit against 3 members of the Commission of Inquiry instituted by President Adama Barrow to look into the conduct of local government councils aimed alleged financial misappropriation in that part of the country. So we're going to talk to Amadou Kante, who's going to join us on the line from Banjul tonight to tell us about what prompted the lawsuit against the 3 commissioners, 3 members of the commission, in which the president Adama Barrow has been able to act in terms of inquiries into, some alleged financial misappropriation of local government councils in that area. So we're going to speak with Amadou Kante, who's going to fill us in with this development tonight on the program from Gambia. Amadou, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, good evening, Tekwan. Thank you very much for having me on the line.
Okay. So what have been the views of Gambians on the mayor's move to challenge the appointment of some members of the commission and Attorney General?
Well, since the news emerged that the mayor of the Gambia's capital, Banjul, Rohim Malik Low, has decided to challenge the some of the members that have been part of the commission that has been instituted by the president to look into the alleged financial malpractices by the local government councils, she has decided to challenge some of the members, and also, of course, the Attorney General Minister of Justice. So Gambians, has been divided in their reaction over this matter. Because if you talk to people who, in one way or the other, trust or are supporting the mayor, they believe she has every right. If she has any concern, about the members that are in the commission, like 3 of them, she have raised concern about, and these members are staying with him in Banjul, in the capital city, and being the mayor, and the city also, which is also hosting some of the members, and also, of course, the Attorney General Minister of Justice. So Gambian, has been divided in their reaction over this matter. Because if you talk to people who, in one way or the other, trust or are supporting the mayor, they believe she has every right. If she has any concern, about the members that are in the commission, like 3 of them, she have raised concern about, and these members are staying with him in Banjul, in the capital city, and being the mayor, and the city also, which is also hosting some of the members, and also, of course, the Attorney General Minister of Justice. So Gambian, has been divided in their reaction over this matter. Because if you talk to people who, in one way or the other, trust or are...
Amadou is ready to do the same thing again. At times, it keeps doing the same. Getting off, let's get him back. I don't know what's happening with his system. But let's go back to... let me go back to Amadou. Let me go back to Amadou. Let me establish contact, and then when we leave Amadou, we'll go to Lesotho. Now we'll call it a day. Let's go back to Amadou. Amadou, we started experiencing the similar thing repeating itself, and we want to ask you There's no time to ask you question. Did government or the concerned parties give any reaction to the mayor's decision to take legal action against them?
Absolutely not. As we speak, neither the government nor any of the parties that have been concerned have reacted to the move by the mayor's decision to challenge their representation in the court. So what I rather think is now the government, hence the mayor, have challenged them in court. They wouldn't be prepared to come and face the mayor in court to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they have every right to be in that commission, and also the minister did not do anything wrong by that, but rather he was there to defend the government as the Minister of Justice.
And do you think the Banjul's mayor will get a tangible outcome of let's get him back and go to the Gambia, let's go to conclude with him, and then we go. Our guest, one of our guests is already here. You'll bring him in so that we can have we can kickstart the process. We can kickstart the process here. Okay, let me go back to Amadou to conclude with him to know the tangible outcome from the legal suit against the Commission and Minister of Justice. You can have any of the areas. Okay, please come and ask. All right, so we can. Okay, so. Okay, let me get this. Let's conclude on the international decks. Then we'll come to our guests. Let me just announce to you the National Youth Chair of the Opposition Unity Party. You know, sometimes when I'm saying opposition, it sounds okay. Is it okay? Okay, Unity Party now is in opposition. You know, time flies. You never. So Toga Melvin Sifos is already here in our studios, and so okay, let me go and conclude with our international correspondents. Go to Gambia. Amadou, sorry you left the line, and I was asking you this question as to whether do you think the Banjul's mayor will get a tangible outcome from her legal suit against the Commission and Minister of Justice in the Gambia?
Well, I think one may not rule that out, because in recent times we have seen, the government through the Minister of Justice lose in some cases against, some parties here in the country. So I wouldn't say or there can be any notion that the mayor may not have any tangible outcome from this. From her challenge at court. And I think, what we can rather say is that the government will be very much prepared, because the president has vested a great interest in this commission, and he has said in a recent interview that he is interested in, making sure that what has happened or what has been suspected in council have been cleared for the public to know whether the malpractice indeed did happen or not. And again, we are just a few months to the elections, and I don't think the government would want to make any mistake. Especially, there was a move that I think, what we can rather say is that the government will be very much prepared, because the president has vested a great interest in this commission, and he has said in a recent interview that he is interested in, making sure that what has happened or what has been suspected in council have been cleared for the public to know whether the malpractice indeed did happen or not. And again, we are just a few months to the elections, and I don't think the government would want to make any mistake.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amadou Kante. We go to Lesotho to conclude on Lesotho now. We're going to Lesotho now to talk to our Lesotho correspondent, Poloko, who's going to tell us about Lesotho's public debt has reduced 60% of the country's gross domestic product. That's the GDP. The Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Economic and Development said that on to date in that country, So Poloko is Voice of Liberia correspondent in Lesotho. He's going to fill us in, and he's the last international correspondent we're going to be speaking with, and then we return back to Liberia to talk to our guests. Poloko joins us. Poloko, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight on the program from Lesotho.
Thank you very much, Sekou, for having me.
Now, Lesotho's public debt has reduced or reached 60% of the country's gross domestic product. That's the GDP for short. The Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Economic and Development said that today in the country. How serious is the public debt of government in Lesotho?
The public debt in Lesotho is so serious that the government has even asked for or requested for a bailout from the Southern African Customs Union, which is the joint organization between four countries, Lesotho, South Africa, Namibia, and Eswatini, which collect revenues from the borders of the four countries. The government has since requested a bailout in order to settle its public debt.
What was Parliament's advice to the government to lower the high public debt?
The Parliament Committee has advised government to retrench some of its employees, one, in order to increase the already existing wage bill, which is also high. It has also requested that government should stop requesting service from independent suppliers, and also settle some of its existing debt in order to start afresh a new debt, which will also ensure that it increases costs.
Apart from what you just mentioned, are there some other initiatives the government is undertaking to lower its debt, by the way?
Oh, thank you. One of the initiatives that government has recently undertook is the introduction of the tobacco and alcohol levy bill, which has seen an increase in tobacco and alcohol products by 30 and 15% respectively. Government has done this to ensure that the alcohol consumption in the country is lowered, while also ensuring that the tax income increases. So we could also see some increase in tax at the borders and also in the alcohol and tobacco products.
Thank you very much, Poloko, for joining us tonight on the show. Issues of today here on Voice of Liberia 104.1. That is it. We're done with the international updates. Yeah, and this is the only place we do that, Voice of Liberia. My name is Sekou Sharif, and we have with us now the National Youth Chair of the Opposition Unity Party in person of Toga Melvin Sifos. He joins us tonight as we're going to have, we should be having Emmanuel M. Johnson, who's the National Youth Chair from CDC. And the both of them, I spoke with them, they've agreed to have shared such a platform so as to provide their thoughts on cross sections of issues, particularly looking at the performance of the government since our inception from 2018 up to present, looking at the pillars of the CDC government and some other areas as well. The Unity Party, mind you, I don't know if this news is true, but it's so good we have the head of the young people here tonight, so he's going to tell us more about this. But let me say good evening to you, Melvin. It's good to have you here tonight.
Well, good evening, Sekou, and let me say good evening to the well-listening audience, and let me also say thank you for the invite to the young people of the Unity Party, and as a mate, you are doing a great job here, such a young man having such well-organized studio, and I did not anticipate to be sitting where I am because I knew the Voice of Liberia to be right opposite this place now, so I'm kind of looking for the place. It's a pleasure being here with you to share platform, and we hope that our counterpart on the ruling CDC can come so that we can discuss these critical national issues.
Certainly. And then as we do a build-up, as we await his arrival, I say the Unity Party.
Well, the Unity Party is doing pretty well, and we are pretty seated to unseat the current ruling establishment. As you know, that they have been noted for misrule and for bad governance, corruption, and what have you. We are doing pretty well, and in the Unity Party, we are prepared to take on our country from where we took it from in 2006 after 14 years of civil war in this country. So we have a history of taking this country from nowhere to somewhere, and we are prepared again to rescue our country, as Ambassador Joseph Iman Bouaka is pretty seated as rescue one on the scene.
Did you at any point in time rescue Liberia?
Obviously, after 14 years of civil war, we had a broken economy, nothing was actually working. The Unity Party came to this country and took Liberia from nowhere and left it at where it was in 2018, where we left civil service salary at a minimum of $250, where civil servants before were taking paid 2 times a year. And you know, Sekou, was in this country during the terror regime, that civil servants would take pay in December and July. Yeah, you know that. So, and civil servants were making $15 that they could not get regularly. We raise it, we build an economy, we build our international image. So the Unity Party has a history of governance, and we've come back to do what we did in past time, and we are prepared to do that.
Okay, so you've come to do what you've done in the past, like you've claimed you've done the right things, even though you did all the right things, but you got defeated because Liberians fell in the 2017 elections. You did not do well and much more better. But let me just say this, and you said this, and it has come to pass. And I want to, not just you, but it is also about me. That I can remember we had a conversation. You said the youth chair of CDC will not come, right? You can remember.
Yeah, I said that to you.
Yeah, you said he's in the constant habit of maybe always saying that, oh, he will send someone else.
No. He you know, to defend this regime is so difficult. So to get people who muster the courage to come out and lie after the regime have massively failed is kind of difficult. And I think Imaya Johnson is a very decent young man who don't want to come and lie to the Liberian people to come and defend or fail regime. So this is why these are not being the first situation right now.
Okay, so I want to announce to the Liberian people, beg you, I just want you to give me a few minutes. So we on the radio, and I think this is how I see things. Let me just explain to the Liberian people. You know, before we come on our various programs, there are lots of things we do behind the scene. You can be a witness. I call you, right? We have a conversation, right? And then you approve. In fact, up to the time I did the flyer, I sent you the flyer for what approval, right?
Sure.
So we did all of that. It means that we did not do it with the knowledge, without the knowledge of you, so you already know. So I'm saying this to say, this is the third time in number, 10 times. I see this as total disrespect, not just to say, and I don't want to say youth chair for you and your political people. This is a total disrespect on the part of Emmanuel Johnson towards my person. I'm not just talking about my show. Emmanuel Johnson made me to take my broadcast equipment from here. I took it to CDC headquarters. He did not turn out. Emmanuel Johnson made me organize a show. I invited him. He did not turn out. Before doing this show, Emmanuel Johnson was the very first person I spoke to. And I told him that as we move towards elections, it is prudent enough so that you leaders, young leaders of various political institutions, right, to speak to your supporters. Because they believe in you people. As the voter registration process kickstarts today, it will be better to have two young persons that lead the two most powerful political institutions in our country to speak to the young people, give them reasons why we can disagree to agree, but we should not, go into things that we are not told. I had a conversation with Emmanuel Johnson, and he accepted. Before I took my phone to call Cephas, who is the National Youth Chairman of the Youth Wing of Unity Party.
Youth Congress.
Youth Congress, right? You said the Youth Congress, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that. The Youth Congress. And Cephas did his best. He accepted the invite, and there were issues that he raised. He said, I will not accept the invite if the youth chair of CDC fails to come and he sends a proxy. You said it to me, right?
Sure.
And I gave you my word that no, he will come because I've spoken to him. I want to say to you on this radio, sorry, I'm wrong. 7:00 sharp, when I got the information that you were out, and I asked my producers which one of the guests they said the Unity Party you've heard, and I decided to send him a message. And he responded to me that he wanted to send someone else, and I told him no, because I said him. And let me say a few things to my young brother. Those of you that are in CDC, and let me say this to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you are a young man striving to make it. You got to stop thinking that you've arrived. You've never. You see the legs of Koji in this country? You see the legs of Morudi people? They did not do what you're doing to media institutions. Not only I know I've complained about you. I've been among talk show hosts. They've complained about your inconsistency. Your inconsistencies has continued to you don't do these kinds of things. You're not needed to make shows to be great. At times, these things are done out of courtesy. You're just a youth chair. We've interviewed, and people have interviewed big people than you in the CDC. You don't do that. And companies say, I'm seeing you, you'll be one of the least youth persons of CDC because you are so complacent. You think you've arrived. You let people down and you don't care. And the disrespectful part about you is you don't tell people that you're not coming on the show, but when the time reaches, they send you a message and you send a message to them and say you want to send someone else. Right? With interview, maybe somebody will say, sorry, because I will give you more time. We'll have some hours to say these things.
No, it's good. I don't want you to blame the young man.
No, listen. Now, I'm not saying it because of you. I'm saying it because of my experience I've had with him.
Look,
and let me say this, I will say this, and it's so good this radio belongs to me. Emmanuel Johnson is so good, he got plenty of radio stations in Liberia. Even if you're speaking somewhere, and I know any of the reporters there, I will ask them to cut it off. That disrespect will not go the way you think it will go. It's just a privilege being extended to you. It is not your right. There were many qualified, competent young people to have served the position you're serving. You feel complacent now that you've arrived. When people invite you, then you say, oh, the other person will come. I've interviewed your boss, which is the president of this country. He did not let me down when we arranged the interview. I've interviewed your immediate boss, Jefferson Koji, on many occasions, I've interviewed almost all your big people. They've not done what you've done. You disrespected me. You made me, I took my broadcast equipment, I went to CDC. You did not turn up. I called you, you did not do it. I arranged a show with you, I told you, I did not force you. And one of your guys this morning asking me, did you get the confirmation? Who is Emmanuel Johnson? Sometimes you start making yourself a thing, say you're too relevant. You're not relevant, brother. You're made it here to make you're too that kind for people and everything in which you are not. Wait until you arrive. When you arrive, then it gets to a point, But anyway, that is it. I want to say thank you. And I'm saying this. I will say it. You have all other radio stations in Liberia. If you have your activities, you can go to them. But the day even I'm not aware and I see anything in the voice of Liberia covering you, call the person to cut it off because you don't deserve it. Folks, the reason why I'm saying it, when somebody do something the one time, you say that mistake. See first, you say mistake, right? You can do it one time, you can do it 2 times, you can do it 3 times, and you say, like reason about we the black people. You're quick to be complacent. You're quick to arrive. May your youth chairman, you're not do everything. But we will discuss that at the appropriate time. Let me move on to my guest. And let me say thank you, T. Melvin Cephas. You said you're Congress, right?
Yeah, National Youth Congress, Evergreen National Youth Congress.
Okay, so I want to say thank you for coming. And on behalf of the management, I want to say kudos, and we hope we can continue the kinds of conversation. But first of all, before we go, people listening to you want to know, who are you, by the way? Give us a little history, information about yourself, and then before we move on to, the discussion.
Well, and the name is Stoka Melvin Cephas, and I hail from Riverside County. And I'm a resident of District 10 by birth. I also attended the Hill Mission Institute where I graduated and obtained my secondary diploma and I also enrolled at the United Methodist University where I studied information technology and I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in information technology. Later, being a professional young person, explored to get some professional certification, being a professional IT person, I'm a Microsoft certified educator, Microsoft certified network associate, and I also got a master's degree from the Cotton University Graduate School. I also lectured at the United Methodist University. I served as the enrollment coordinator, a job that I just resigned to take this role as National Youth Chairman of the Unity Party. And I served as the then District Number 4, now District Number 10 Student President. I also serve as resource person in the Unity Party National Youth Congress. I serve as Assistant Secretary General in the Unity Party, Assistant Secretary General for Legislative Affairs. And my job at the time is basically to set a working relationship between the UP Legislative Caucus and that of the party leadership to ensure a free flow of information access from the party to the caucus to push the party legislative agenda. And I also got elected as the National Youth Chairman of the Unity Party. I'm a Christian and also an elder of the Gospel of Jesus Christ. And I'm a member of the Greater Works Ministry.
Are you married?
No, I'm single. So, and being an elder, there's no set criteria or.
I've heard the married people are the ones that, they gave the kinds of positions too.
No. So Jesus was not married like me. Jesus was not supposed to be the son of God. So going to the biblical argument, we will talk about that. But that's a little about me. And professionally, I work at ACD Africa. I serve as consultant for the Smart Consultant, serve as program manager. I also work at the African Insurance Corporation, serve as IT consultant for so many years before we came to the national politics. And today we find ourselves in the national politics. We think it's an opportunity where we can continue our contribution to a lot of young people that we lecture at the United Methodist University and other schools around Monrovia. We can continue our contribution to the young people of this country.
Okay, you can continue. When did you get into active politics?
Well, and I got into active politics in 2015. In 2015, there was a by-election in Riverside where Senator Francis P. won as senator during the 2014 by-election in Riverside. And at the time, my late mother was actively into the Riverside politics. She had a lot of campaign activities for almost all of those lawmakers who got elected. The direct were in 2011, the Francis P. in 2011 and 2014. And Francis P. got elected as senator, and I got involved into the Riverside politics. I supported the incumbent representative of District Number 2, Honorable Barry Sange. He won that by-election. In 2017, I had his campaign in Riverside. I was also on the Unity Party campaign team in Riverside County, and we ran the campaign. After the elections, we came back to town. We did not win. And our passion has always been with the Unity Party, but we are not being active.
By that time, which one of the positions you serve?
So I was not having a party position back then, but I was
You're just a regular member.
Yes, I was appointed on the campaign team in Rivers as members of the PR team, Public Relations Committee on the campaign team. I served that position in Rivers. When we came back right after the campaign, the campaign team is dissolved. We just became a regular member of the party, and we began to work with the youth leader at the time. But then it was Warwick Bryant, who was the acting youth chair. Later on, Alfonso Belair was the acting youth chair, and Alfonso appointed me as the resource president to the National Youth Congress. And we became active in 2018. We all knew it was a difficult thing to speak against a popular president, now like a pride called notorious president, because he's known for the wrong reason. But not many young people who have the guts to speak against the regime at the time, because we had a celebrity coming to power, but we took to social media, radio station, and we remained committed with our party. Until in 2019, when we had the 2019 senatorial by-election, then by then I was active in politics in district number 10, so I was appointed to serve as campaign chairman of the Taylor's campaign in district number 10, and we won that election overwhelmingly. We organized our activities in 2020. We were also appointed to serve as head of the campaign team in the district. And in 2020, the Unity Party had a mini convention that ushered in Chairman Amin Moda as national chairman. In that convention, right after that convention, there was a convention for the Youth Congress of the Unity Party. We took part in that convention. I contested as Secretary General of the Youth Congress, and I lost that election by 1 vote. And I saw that as an entry point into our national politics, and I kept
contested for which one of the positions?
Secretary General of the Youth Congress.
Okay.
And we did that
in which one of the years?
It was in 2020. 2020, yeah, we had a mini convention. And I lost that election to my counterpart who won the marshal. After that election, we kept our base in the party, continued our work. Well, after that particular election, I was appointed as National Assistant Secretary General, being the youngest person on the party National Executive Committee. And we really engaged with the party activities, began working with the party, had 1 or 2 interactions with the Standard Bearer, travel with him to Lofa and other countries. When we came back, we became involved, and based on our commitment and loyalty to the Unity Party, we have ascended as National Chairman of the Youth Congress.
And so you were voted by the young people of the party to serve them as we move towards the October elections.
So, well, we are prepared as the Youth Congress of the Unity Party to deliver this country to rescue one Ambassador Joseph Yema Bouaka. Since our election, we have traveled to 11 of the counties, and all of the major political counties, we have visited them, and we are left with just 6 counties in the southeast, which beginning next week, we're going to move into those counties. As you may be aware, we launched our voter registration awareness campaign 10 days ago. That was on March 10, and I think that we are leading by example. I heard today that the CDC launched their voter registration awareness campaign, and they are following. We are leading, and they are following. So today I heard that they launched their voter awareness.
You said the CDC launched? Yeah. It's not the National Elections Commission?
No. I heard that had a program at CDC today launched voter.
Yeah. You're right.
So yeah, we did that 10 days ago.
But you are aware that the National Elections Commission launched the process started today, the voter registration.
No, the voter registration process started today. We also the process there are a lot of irregularities.
Okay, so we have the National, you say Congress?
The National Youth Congress.
The National Youth Congress of the Unity Party chair is our guest tonight on the show. So we go into the discussion, and we want to have the discussion, phase by phase, so we can understand some of the issues. Then we'll move on to some of the issues. But first of all, we want to know more about the Unity Party. How is the Unity Party, and what is the manifesto of the Unity Party?
So the first thing, the Unity Party will not categorically develop a new manifesto, because we had a manifesto that got elected on in 2011.
Okay.
And there are a lot of bad governance practices that we need to correct. So all of these things will
My man,
be
talk
embedded
about
into
your
our,
last
all of
my
these
man,
things,
you
all
know,
of these
before you
things
start
will
blaming,
be,
talk about your
all
manifesto,
of these
friend.
things will be embedded into our manifesto to ensure, first of all, we're going to correct all of the bad governance practices by President Weah and reinstate our country to where
Boss
it
man,
was, then we'll move into
boss
it.
man.
So now,
I want you
the
listen,
standard
Jim,
bearer of the Unity
boss man.
Party, we have engaged into
I
what we
want to
call
know. Listen, I don't want us to have the normal discussion that you have where people just talk and then you have thousands of people listening. They want to learn some of the things. Mind you, we in a period where your appearance or appearances will educate the people as to where to go. I want you to tell us tonight. You said it is the old manifesto from 2011, isn't so?
we're going to correct some of the wrongs for 2011, then we'll move into our new manifesto.
Meaning the wrongs are within your very manifesto that you developed,
Obviously.
right?
Obviously.
So outline some of the things in the manifesto that you developed from 2011 that you worked with and you did not work with, and the problems you got with some of the ones that are there, so we can understand what is it Unity Party has for the Liberian people.
So first of all, and our Senator, we have launched our arrest campaign. That is going to invest the A that will stand for agriculture, where we're going to invest into agriculture at an industrial level. Investing into agriculture at an industrial level, what you're going to do is we're going to create job opportunities for a lot of young people. We're going to have companies coming to this country that
You
will,
said Alex?
yeah, we're going to invest into agriculture. The A that will stand for agriculture. We're going to invest into agriculture at an industrial level. And at an industrial level, we'll have the opportunities to have young people employed. We'll have the opportunity to produce our own stable food that is rice in this country, where we will no longer be importing rice in this country. We'll have people producing the rice here. And we all know the history of our standard bearer, Ambassador Joseph Yima Bouaka. He role played at the LPMC when he was serving at the LPMC, ahead of the LPMC that was later transitioned into the Ministry of Agriculture. When he was there, it was when Lofa County then was referred to as the bread basket of Liberia, because all of our local crops were produced from Lofa, and we're not importing rest crops, the rest, stable food, the rest in Lofa were being produced on the farm. So we're going to invest largely into agriculture at an industrial level. We're also going to prioritize our educational sector. We all know where the Unity Party, where the Unity Party, agriculture, where the Unity Party, where the Unity Party, I get in there.
Okay. No, you talk about education, so I just wanted you to get it.
So where the Unity Party took this country from in 2005, we know that.
Address the mic to him. No, you can relax. Let me address the mic to you.
Where the Unity Party took this country from in 2005, where all of our educational sector were devastated, and there was no system into place. We built our system to the place that we had to build various colleges across the country. We're going to improve that. We noticed that there have been a lot of complaints from across the community colleges, the bombing, the NEMA, and what have you. Going to strengthen our educational policies to ensure that we have our students not just going to school, but getting the quality of education that is required of them.
So you talk about you call a word. You say AREX, right?
Yes, sure.
AREX. Is it correct?
No, that is not AREX.
How do you spell it, please? You said is part of, because I'm looking at your manifesto from 2011. So you talk about is that how do you spell it?
So we're going to also invest into sanitation, ensure to have a clean environment, and ensure that the environment, once you have a clean environment, you have a healthy environment. As it is under this regime, we see how devastated our city is. How
Sir, let's come to this AREX thing, please. You said is AREX or AR what? I want you to spell it because I want to get something clear, please. You said it's a program, right?
Yeah, I come in.
Okay. So the A you talked about agriculture, but the last time we remember Ambassador Bouaka was being given some agriculture related equipment, and they were saying in Lofa and they got damaged. Nothing happened.
So was that equipment given to Ambassador Joseph Bouaka?
Was that ahead?
Not at all. So you are generally that equipment was not given to Ambassador to say you need to research that.
What transpired?
So there was a company that took those projects to invest those projects in Lofa, and the company did not succeed. Even that was not the former vice president went to do that. And you know the history. So it was not given to.
It was not.
What I know is when Ambassador to say Waka served as head of the LPMC in Liberia, what he did was excellent aid. We had the agricultural products all on our local markets. And because we have a history of serving at this institution, he will show that we invest industrially in agriculture.
How somebody listening to you tonight will believe that Ambassador Bwaka is that much more serious when it comes to agriculture, even though under his watch, huge number of agricultural equipment were taken in his county and nothing was done about it. He had all the means to have, maybe send out recommendations or make a plea as to have such being done in his county. How will somebody take Ambassador Bwaka serious when it comes to agriculture?
So you judge Ambassador Bwaka from his past performance when he was heading the agriculture sector. What did he do then? What was his approach? That's what we want to judge him. Now for a company that went to Lofa because he was spearheading, now he was spearheading that project. So we established that. So we are saying that we're going to invest into agriculture at an industrial level. We're going to create environmental companies to come to this country and invest into agriculture. And when they invest into agriculture, we give them the right to produce those crops here. We produce those crops here to ensure that our staple food, when it is produced in Liberia, it means that we're not going to be charged for taxes to bring things that rise to this country. But once it is produced here, it will obviously be cheaper on the market. Like for instance, in 2018, the president of Liberia made a statement to us that rice will now go above $13. Because that was just a mere statement that did not come with the actual things that should be done. What are those things that should be done to keep rice at $13? And we should produce rice in Liberia. But they are not producing rice. Rice will be $13. What's the price of rice? Rice is now so $7.
You know that rice issue is globally.
So because it is global, this is why you should encourage companies so that we can produce rice here. We have the land space. We are not lacking land space in Liberia. All we need to do is to create an environment where companies can come and produce rice.
Okay.
So now we are saying that AREST is AREST. We're going to invest in agriculture.
REST.
We're going to invest in agriculture,
recreation,
sanitation.
How about the E?
Education.
And sanitation, right?
So now, what we're saying here is that the recreation, let's look at our country, look at the recreational sector. The other day we saw the president of Liberia bringing Arab investors to invest and build a recreational center for the Bali Island. Because the president of Liberia was not intentional about those things, where is the Bali Island today? It failed. Let's look at Cape Man. In Cape Man, we got the lake, we got the lake in Cape Man, we got the Piso, we got the Tete. These are all recreational centers. These are all recreational centers that
I want you to tell us, void of I know we're going to reach a time we're going to deep into politics. You're going to provide thoughts about the governance and all these things you say. But I want to be particular about what is it that Unity Party has? How do you intend to do what you've got for the Liberian people? Instead of us, because sometimes we want to do the each time you say if they so I want us to focus when we are done with what you have and how you intend to do it. Then we come to the political issue. Then you will give us your thoughts on performances and everything.
I just told you that. We're going to invest into agriculture.
Okay. And how much do you want to invest in agriculture under your government?
So the first thing we're going to do is to attract companies to this country that will come and invest in this country. We're going to raise the agriculture. The current budget, the agriculture is very low. Even the president of Liberia.
And I asked, how much is it the Unity Party?
So the Unity Party going to get to our financial thing, we're going to raise that bill, we're going to do it. What we are saying is,
so it means up to present, there's no amount being figured out that unity parties will solve some of the problems.
So we don't just show our figure. Before you show our figure to say that we want to uplift the agricultural process, there should be a process leading to that. Feasibility study should be done on the ground. What are those companies coming to invest in the So when you get all of those necessary to then come and make an announcement.
But from what you're saying,
we don't want to make a pronouncement today and end up like the president.
Like you are saying something, you are sounding as if to say you've done all the studies and then you come back again and say you need to do it. So there's a big contradiction.
So you can't be having a platform and you use steady. This our platform is what we intend to do. This is what we're going to do. When we present the platform and we are given the leadership, then we go and tell you how we're going to do it. Like for instance, the Unity Party came to this country in 2005. We said we wanted to connect major economic corridors. So that's in our platform to connect our countries. Because we had that platform when we got elected as president, then we did feasibility study, we did assessment feasibility study and launched the project. That is how today we see the road to Banca, we see the road to Bon County, we see the Chibeni Free Road that the CDC was posting. So you don't do feasibility study when you have not given the opportunity to lead this country.
So it means you don't know the actual problems that exist, but you just see them from the surface.
No, the problem that exists is leadership. In our country, our major problem we got is leadership. It's because the leadership lack the willpower to implement. We don't have issues. No. We got investors who are ready to come to this country. But because the present regime has created a dark cloud over our country and the image in the international community is very bad, so investors will come to this country. But when you create the able environment, you see investors coming here and bidding here and there to come to this country. We saw in 2018, we saw investors coming to this country. Why did they leave? Why did they not invest? We saw Arab investors coming to this country. Why did they not build the Berlin Island? These are questions you need to ask. It's because our official of government are very corrupt. And we have seen evidence about the chief of staff of the president being censured. So we know that. So what we are saying is we are going to prioritize agriculture, education, sanitation, to ensure recreation, to ensure that we uplift our country. But to do that, we must first regain the image of our country that have been deeming on the international community by this failed regime. You know, Sebu, that the president of Liberia is in the US now. He's not going there just because he's going to have a power election. It's because the CIA invited the president of Liberia. So that's the reason. That's the reason he's in the US now.
Listen.
So you know that, Sebu. So you're not saying.
Don't go. We'll reach to all these things. I'll continue to say.
So no, I'm telling you now. So our first problem in Liberia is we need to relift the image of our country.
Do you know
that cloud that have been placed over our country for back?
Even though we've not reached there, we're going to come back. Do you know the history with the CIA towards Liberia?
I know the president of Liberia is invited by the CIA.
I'm just asking
No, I'm telling you.
Do you know the history?
I'm telling you. I'm just telling you the president of Liberia is invited by the CIA. And if the CIA of America is not ordinary.
Do you know the history of the CIA to Liberia?
I know the CIA have invited the president.
I'm not disputing. I'm just asking you. No, before we go to trench of even, I just want you to be clear whether you know the history or you don't. Do you know the history of CIA to Liberia?
So when the CIA invite a president for investigation or to question him, when you just have a huge dedication
I thought you knew the history, but let me move on to this issue. You talk about agriculture, and it is one of the things that you see most of our, most of the political institutions will talk about agriculture. This would be this would be that, everything, and so. You don't have lots of things. In terms of doing such, you said you've done some of the stuff, you got the knowledge, but you've not done the study in terms of what do you think could be some of the problems that Liberia has not been able to do well in agriculture?
So the problem is leadership. having a major problem, and the willpower to take some of these critical decisions. Now, there are people in this country who benefit from the suffering of the Liberian people.
How leadership plays into this?
So now, you need to have the willpower to take a decision to say, as of today, we will rather growing rice in Liberia than importing rice. We will rather growing rice in Liberia than importing rice. It's because people don't have the willpower. Leaders don't have the willpower.
Why didn't your political leader, along with
so
some of us, do it? Because that was
our priority.
Listen now, they had 12 years, and the 12 years they had lots of support internationally. People were willing to come and do much more even than what you just mentioned.
So the 12 years, there were priorities. So we have just come from 14 years of civil war. The first thing we needed to do is to rebuild our country economy, which the Unity Party did. The next thing we need to do is to rebrand our country face in the international community, which the Unity Party did. So our priorities was not targeted at that particular stage. But now, where we left our country, we anticipated this regime that got elected on change to come and take some of those critical decisions. Because you said we did not do it, and you were elected on the platform of change. And that change is to ensure that some of the critical decisions are taken.
It means even your very self, you failed the people as well.
No, we did not. We did not.
You had 12 years.
So we have 12 years. In the 12 years,
you did not solve the problem of agriculture.
So the agriculture was not the only problem that Liberia had when we took over for 12 years.
Didn't the Unity Party receive support during her regime for agriculture?
We received support for a lot of projects.
Let's be particular. So didn't the Unity Party receive support from agriculture under her regime?
So we received support for a lot of projects.
So it means you misused the opportunity.
Those were not opportunities that were misused. So now, let's look at.
So it was not misused. Why didn't we achieve to a certain level in agriculture under your regime?
So we achieved a lot under agriculture. Okay. There were a lot of agricultural policies. There were a lot of policies that were drafted. So what we are saying, in Bon County, the agricultural project that is going on in Bon County that have provided job for a lot of people. That is the will come from in Bon County. That's a whole unit that was created outside of the Bon County. That was through the Unity Party regime that was implemented. But today we see that project is failing. So there was a lot of achievement under the Unity Party, even though we did not pronounce bread to be grown in Liberia. But we had a lot of achievement under the Unity Party regime. And we elected the CDC to come and correct these wrongs. And the CDC have failed to do so. So we are saying that one of our major problems we left as Unity Party 12 years, one of the major problems we left and we started the negotiation of it is the connection of the Southeast to the rest of the country. Today, the Southeast connection remains a major challenge. It still remains as
it means this is what political pundits will say. Under your administration, 6 years period, you had the oil, you had the influx of investors, and you had lots of institutions that were supporting government-run projects and institutions. And you did not succeed to transform or achieve whatsoever you've claimed that you should have achieved. Why do you think this government that has no support as compared to your government should be blamed?
Look, what attracted the support to this country? It was the image that we created. Let me give you another example. Let me give you another example. Good. We came from war. We secured the MCC Compact project for 5 years that the CDC enrolled into. After we succeeded in that, the CDC, at the time we had Samuel Tuer serving as consultant on that project. And we secured that project. But today Samuel Tuer is the Minister of Finance. The CDC boasted of passing the MCC Compact project, but they cannot secure funding for that project up to today. While neighboring countries are selecting funding, what I'm saying to you is the government process that the Unity Party had was a more responsible, government. It was not just easy to attract these investments. So if it was that easy, then it means today we should have the CDC securing the MCC Compact project. So it was not just easy.
So here's another contradiction. You admitting that getting those support were not easy as the way you think they should have been, right?
It was not an easy task. So if the
So
CDC
then why
feel
you
easy,
want to when the CDC when you know that it is not an easy
no,
task
it's
and they've been
because
fighting
no.
to
What I'm
make
saying,
things
no,
work?
what I'm saying is the CDC is unable to do that. The Unity Party, you just said to me, the Unity Party secure a lot of attracted a lot of investment in this country. So because
According
the CDC,
to your words.
yes, because the CDC, it's not according to my word, these are facts. You know that. Because the CDC is unable to attract investment in this country, this is why we are saying they should leave. And we, the United Party, government that knows how to attract investment in this country, we are ready and prepared to rescue our country so that we can start to invest at an industrial level into agriculture.
How do you think Liberians will believe in Ambassador Boaka when he himself has admitted that they've squandered the opportunity or loss of opportunities for Liberians?
Sure, you see that? And I agree with you. There's no 100% perfect government. If it was so, we wouldn't have instituted these corruption institutions, the LDCC, the PPCC, the GAC, because we know human nature is not perfect. And there were a lot of opportunities that were squandered under our regime. And the kind of leader we need, they are leaders that will be honest to say that yes, there were opportunities that were squandered. And I will listen to these opportunities that were squandered to you. Because the United Party pushed for government of inclusion. And because we pushed for government of inclusion, we knew the current finance minister was a sedition. We hired on the MCC compact project that today you cannot secure with the support of Unity Party partisans, making over 15,000 United States dollars, and we're not giving the needed result to Unity Party. Another opportunity that will squander is after the 2011 election, we had the president of Liberia appointed a peace ambassador in this country. When he appointed a peace ambassador in the country, he was given 13 million United States dollars.
You had to do it because you saw him as a threat to your...
And that's it. That's it. And when he was appointed as peace ambassador, he was given 13 million United States dollars to steer the affair of that office as peace ambassador. How you spend that money? How you spend that money?
Let me say this, right?
So this is some opportunity.
It is the same with your party. Your former vice standard bearer served this government as well.
So I agree now. So what we are saying,
so it means that your government did not do much more well in terms of aligning all other players.
No. What I'm saying is the opportunity with squander is that $13 million that the president of Liberia, then standard bearer of the CDC, cannot account for up to today. How that money was spent? Ambassador Joseph Yima Puaka served as vice president of this country. When you are leaving the office of vice president, he turned over to the current vice president over 1 million United States dollars that were in the cover intended for the office of the vice president.
Do you have a record to that?
The record is there.
That's something you just saying. You don't have a record.
The record is clear. The record is there.
Was it published?
No, I don't know of it. You don't know about it, but the current vice president knows about it.
How can we authentic?
Go and check the document there. Check to the GSC. No.
How would they go ask now? You should be telling me.
Okay, let me give you another thing. The CDC lawmaker, I come in now.
Cephas, let me ask you. I'm the one interviewing
you. Ahead.
Relax yourself. We have one more hour to roll. Don't worry, right? You telling me that your standard bearer now left some amount of money, and that money was received or whatsoever the turnover note. Professionally, that's how it should be. So I'm asking you, what's the trace? How can we authenticate what you say?
You are journalist, right? You are journalist. Go and research that.
Gary money and research been here?
Welcome. The record is there.
You telling me, say,
the turnover note is properly documented.
This is what happened.
No, the turnover note is properly documented.
No.
So you can get access to it.
There were nowhere in this country where Joe Boaka did that. So you need to be telling me, I'm telling you, say it did not happen. So you need to tell me at this time, and it said yes, the links and everything, then I go there and verify.
Look, the vice president of this country, and I challenge you, place a call to the current vice president. That should deny that. No, it is.
I'm not going to waste my time. I won't waste my time on that.
So these are all public documents.
So it means you just saying it because of the discussion sake. No, you don't speak to facts.
So all of what I have said here.
This is not facts. You don't have
facts. No, there is fact. The record is there.
No, nothing.
The record is there.
You have to show me anything. So what's the link?
Okay, I'm not saying link.
No, now.
No, I can't send it now.
But it means you just say
check with the latest information center at the Liberia legislature. Check that.
No, latest is not for that purpose.
No, the kind of information, the legislative information center, the legislative information center at the legislature. Check that.
But you said latest.
legislative information center that the acronym I was trying to point out. So if you check at the legislature, at the legislative information center, you will get access to that information because all of the information for the legislature is at that particular place, except that you don't have interest in it. Now,
sometimes when you people say these things, you need to say them with
so you are aware. So you are aware. So you are aware that you are aware that the president of this country, when you are serving a peace ambassador, received $13 million budgetary allocation. You are not concerned about how that money was spent. No, you are not concerned about how that money was spent, but you are more concerned about the turnover no that ambassador Joseph Yima, which is a fact.
When I ask you now, you said he did not make a report or he squandered or whatsoever that when I ask you for any link or facts to authenticate again, you will say I should go check somewhere. Because before you say someone is corrupt or someone must have done something, you are speaking with a fact-based background that, okay, based on this report, this is what has happened and this is what that we've received. Then what we said, we say, okay, yeah, you said something.
No, it's not normal political thing. Today, Sekou, if you go at the legislative information center tomorrow and you don't have access to that information, then it means don't have me on your show. This is a challenge for you.
But most of the things these days you can get it on.
I'm showing you.
Can you give me the link to
I'm showing you a specific reference point. I'm showing you a specific reference point where you can get that information from. It's proper information. Until that he's the only public official who did a thing overload.
Until that can be proven as false. Until that can be proven. If you just send me the link, or maybe the way you on the radio, your friends listening to you, someone can just send it to you and just send it to me and I say, oh yeah, it's true, C4 City, everything.
So on the point that Joseph Boakai squandered opportunity, we are listing some of those opportunities that was squandered.
Mm-hmm.
The president receiving $13 million and he having given a report how that money was spent. These are some of the opportunities we squandered. The current head of the maritime, using now serving as transport minister, serving as information minister, and not giving the needed result. These are opportunities that we squander. The current extension minister of state, former minister of state, Nathaniel Magee, served at the Ministry of Internal Affairs because he could not meet the job tax within less than 6 months. He had to resign. He resigned the job as assistant minister at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. These are opportunities within the time frame that he served, and if we had a competent and prepared person who will contribute more to Liberia, presiding or occupying that position, they were giving more to Liberia. These are opportunities that we squander.
So you sounding much more because the people now they worked in the government, so you want to blame them.
No, we are not blaming them, but check their record. Check their
your political leaders serve as the second or third most powerful persons in this country. And you have people complaining about the education system. You have people complaining about the very things that you are talking about. How can Liberians come to a point to say all the problems that Liberia faced the past 12 years before this, government 6 years, that Ambassador Boakai should not be blamed?
So, Ambassador Joseph Yima Boakai, who he served the Unity Party government. And his Unity Party government took this country from nowhere in 2006 and left it to a smooth rolling fee in 2018. In 2018. In 2018, when the CDC took over this country, they made the first 1 year salary already budgetary allotted. Where they were taking pay from 2018 up to 2019. Before they brought a harmonization policy that failed today, that intend to harmonize people's salary against government, government ministry and agency. And today, even up to today, we got people who are in government ministry and agency that are still receiving far above, and some are making below the salary belt and what have you. So what we're saying here is the Unity Party had a government that took this country from nowhere to where we left it. Now, when we took over this country, there was not a road going to Bassa. When we took over this country, there was not a road going to Nima.
You say coming back to all these things.
So we are saying that we are saying that this current regime was elected on the policy of change. So there were things that the Unity Party, there were things that they claimed that the Unity Party did not do well, that they came to do well.
The community roles were never there when you people were in power.
So, and I agree with it. Then the next
so
one say,
you think it is
so what's the economic dividend? What's the economic dividend of these rules? What's the economic dividend? What's the return? The economic return that this rule bring to the Liberian people. So if I'm moving from here, it is important that I can't drive on those roads. But our major road that needed to connect economic corridor is the road for the Southeast, which the president introduced the Elton and Iboma loan agreement to pave that road, and that agreement is today a failed policy. It was legislated, and 6 months after it was de-ratified because the president did not understand the processes we went through to secure all these fundings, like the Lofa Road that we secure funding for, that the president broke ground for in 2017 when he was senator and senator of the CDC. How we secure this funding, you don't know. The Chibeni Free Road that the president just broke ground for. You don't understand the technicality what we went through to build these roads and negotiate the concession agreement to ensure that we have this policy. The road in Maryland, the Swearing Road, these are all road projects that were negotiated by the Unity Party regime, and we started by the Unity Party regime. So there are processes leading to achieving these major road projects. The CDC have failed massively. The CDC have failed in terms of providing governance. Our rule of law is very bad. In 2018, we saw the president of Liberia bypassing the constitution of Liberia and appointing the ambassador to the US, who did not go to the Senate confirmation. I can send you that link.
So let me ask you this question. And the reason why I'm trying to control this interview in this way is because I think it is now time when people like you appear to tell the Liberian people what is said in your very political institutions for the Liberian people. Now, what is said within the Unity Party for job creation, particularly for the young people of this country?
So, I just told you that the Unity Party has a platform of the anchoring that says ours. One, agriculture. When we invest in agriculture at the industrial level, what we're going to do is create jobs for young people. There will be job opportunity for people. Now, I'm talking about rural connectivity. The Southeastern state is connected for our country. When we connect these roads, young people will have access to go, those in the rural area will be able to make their farm, to have things for themselves. They will be able to produce their crops on the farm and be able to bring it to Monrovia to sell and get a living for themselves. Also, we said we're going to invest into tourism. If you invest into tourism, like the president had a very good intention of the Bali Island, to build the Bali Island. If the Bali Island is built and he failed, we're going to build tourist centers that will not just be the Bali Island. Build the tourist center. When the tourist centers are built, obviously there will be job opportunity for young people that they will be able to get employed. So we are not just saying that, okay, we'll create 1 million jobs, like the CDC government said that they're going to create 1 million jobs up to today. We cannot count up to. Do
you think what you just mentioned is reasonable enough to say that a government that wants to lead the people, is that the areas you think you can empower, and that could be one of your strongest empowerment strategies?
So the Unity Party have a history of empowering young people through our educational period during our 12 years of service in this country. And in our current platform, we prioritize education. Now, during the Unity Party regime, we have our young people being educated, getting local and international scholarship to go out of this country, to study, come back. And some of the young people today, they are the best brain of our country that are all right. It was because the Unity Party prepared them. But today in our country, even local scholarship, we cannot find for young people to go to school. We cannot find the local MOE scholarship that were in all of the various universities. Today, we cannot find at least to talk about the international scholarship that will prepare young people. So our priority for young people is first to educate the young people, prepare these young people, and once they are prepared, they can fit into any society. You don't necessarily have to work in the Liberian government. Once you are prepared today, we got some of the young people that Unity Party prepare all the year. They are working outside of outside of Liberia. Like the Gafan, because they Kafran. When the Unity Party took over in 2005, and Kafran was at the University of Liberia. That came through and a solar group. But because the Unity Party prepared him today, he's working with the African Development Bank. This is why one of our payroll is for education, to educate our young people, prepare avenue in which our young people can get
This
educated.
government will say what they've done, your government did not do it in terms of paying wide fees, and all these things your government did not do. So it means that they will argue that they're more in support of education than you do.
So if we were to do an analysis of the government schools, and the WASP situation, the first thing is, was there a problem with people not affording to pay WASP fees? Before you solve the problem, before you solve the problem, before you implement something, you don't know whether it was a problem. Was paying WASP fee in Liberia was a problem? No. Paying WASP fee only became a problem when the president of Liberia reduced the people's salary, and they would not afford to pay people's school fee again. That when it became a problem. So it was never a problem under our regime. People could afford to pay their children's school fees, could afford to pay their children's WASP fee, because the president of Liberia came and cut people's salary because they were wearing red and blue beret. So then paying WASP fee became a problem. When you have an economy that is running, and people are paid based on their input and based on the quality of work they do, they can be able to pay for whatever services they can be able to pay for. So it was not a problem. The next thing is free tuition. Now, the government of Liberia implemented a free tuition policy, but the University of Liberia budgetary allocation is far less than what it was receiving before when people were paying tuition fees. It tells you how much a free tuition policy will not be effective. And already, people, you are aware that we are getting calls from all of the universities, that the universities are not functioning well because they don't have the necessary budgetary allocation. We don't make political statements. It's not just a political statement. When you do these things, what we are concerned about for education is the quality in education. It is not just a mere pronouncement of free tuition policy. We have all of the colleges and universities around the country are complaining, they are not functioning, they are all devastated because they don't have the necessary budgetary allocation. So if the president of Liberia, when he took over this country, WASP was not a problem. Parents were complaining of not affording WASP. Our problem in this country was to connect the Southeast.
What is the problem with your political leader in selecting his running mate?
There's no problem with our political leader selecting.
Someone is saying it is overdue now.
So that's
voter registration starts today.
So that's the president's opinion.
And up to president, no one knows who's going to be.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion. So now, our stand-up is more concerned about opposition unity. So some of these names you hear me, we are working on modalities to ensure that when one person is big, everybody will be together.
What happened in Ghana recently? What happened in Ghana recently?
Tell me your channel in Kenya and all those kind of things. So just let me know. Maybe you got the news.
So and I just want the Unity Party people. You were in studio here when we call our correspondent from Ghana, right? You listen to. So it means that we got.
Tanzania or Kenya. I didn't hear Ghanaian accent.
Okay, so we got a correspondent in Ghana, right?
Yeah, what the Ghana man say?
We want you to tell us what really transpired or what really went on recently with your political leader trip to Ghana.
So our political leader been reaching out to friendly countries, and Ghana is one of those countries that he visited or recent. And there are people who are interested in him becoming the next president of this country, Liberians in Ghana, Liberians in America. So our next president in travel to the country interacting with
What was the mission of his?
So he went to interact with Liberians who got interest in him becoming president of this country.
Also, he did it behind camera or what?
Well, behind camera. That everywhere, we're not president, we are with the CIA. Why the camera not there so we can see the investigation?
When he arrived, you saw it.
Where? We're not the president.
When the man arrived. Okay, why your man arrived? Why your political leader arrived at the airport?
No, the photos were on social media.
Where?
But
please show me.
I'm showing you. I know I was sending it to you.
No, I was sending it to you. Oh, yeah, no, I was sending
it to you. But say why you doing the journalists where we're not following or keeping?
No, I won't see it. I won't see.
You're not following activities.
No, see first, I won't see the picture. No, see first. No, it's something important. We're going to it. It's very important. I won't see the picture when he arrived at Gutaka Airport. in Ghana.
Airport.
Yeah.
No, I'm not aware that he was at Kotoka Airport in Ghana. I know he went to Ghana.
Oh, what kind of airport you go to?
No, yeah, so I know he talked to people in Ghana. What is significant? What is significant of
it
his
is
photo?
important because he's one of the major players in the upcoming elections in Liberia.
Oh, okay, so I was saying the photo.
So this is what we're hearing from Ghana.
Okay, tell me what you hear.
That,
I have something to say.
That one of your quote-unquote supporters is requesting that your political leader select him as the vice tender bearer in President Acosta, and he made a 30 million offer. 5 million will be given once the announcement is made, and then the remaining ones follow.
Oh, okay. So you didn't hear about the Jeremiah Kuntu?
Let's talk about this.
Didn't you hear about the Nyomli Kata Lawrence? Didn't you hear about
Let's talk about this.
So I'm saying we are in a political season. So everybody can aspire. So you are hearing rumor that Henry Costa saying he wants to be. I also been hearing rumor that people say who say won't be president. He won't be the Senate of the CDC right after the 2023 election. So I'm serious about it. So what we're saying here is
give us the detail of the nature of the political leaders in Ghana.
So the Senate of visited Ghana and talked to Liberians there. So if you are getting information that one of his supporters wants to be vice president and whatever, it is everybody right. But our constitution is clear that the Senate Bureau has the authority to select his running mate. Anyone, the only person can be a Liberian. You can go see the American to come here. So Sekou Sherry, believe me, if the Senate Bureau pick you as a running mate, my man,
I'm not a politician.
So the people that come to politics, they can't be thinking about politics. We need. Don't you think we need professional people like you two in our politics so that we can see the actual to see our country move forward? So if our Senate Bureau pick you now,
what do you think, CFOS? What are the problems leading to Ambassador Boaka selecting his running mate?
There's no problem.
Why up to present?
There's no problem. Like I said to you earlier, the Senate Bureau of the Unity Party did an interview on VOA. And he said something very important, but a lot of our journalists are forgetting about these things. He said that he's interested in opposition unity. So when you see us,
is he begging Alexander Cummings for a marriage?
He's reaching out to everyone. Our senator, because he's the arrowhead and the leading opposition figure in this country, he's reaching out to everyone.
Reaching out could be something sounds better, but what are some of the discussions behind?
So the discussions are very fruitful. And I can confirm to you here, I can confirm to you here that not just people from ANC, but there are people from the CDC, top government ministers from the CDC that were, as soon as Joseph Boaka announced they're coming to join the Unity Party. I can confirm that one to you. If you want
to how soon do we get the running mate, the name of the running mate of your political leader? Mind you, these things.
So I can predict, but I can't tell you the Senate Bureau will do it this day because there's no time frame in our party constitution that limits the Senate Bureau to a specific time frame to say.
Appointing the running mate could also serve good for him.
So I can predict.
The delay might cause some other issues.
So Sekou, like I said to you, I can predict to you, but there's no specific time frame.
Among all the names you've heard and you just mentioned, which one of the names do you think is a name that is really playing within the middle of a unity party that may likely be announced by their political leader?
The one is Senator Barak. The person name is Senator Barak on the call as his running mate.
You talk about Gonglu, you talk about what is his name?
Costa.
You talk about Yomdi, you talk about Jeremiah.
Among all of those names, everybody stands a chance of becoming.
Is the Unity Party willing to accept Costa?
The Unity Party is willing to accept whoever the Senate Bureau pick as his running mate. Let me tell you something.
Do you see Costa now as someone to work with?
The Unity Party is willing to work with whoever the Senate Bureau pick as his running mate.
I'm asking you, do you see Costa now as
so why don't you make a conversation to Costa? Why?
Because
I see you.
The reason why I'm asking you, you asked me, and we're gonna have a conversation. The reason why a political pundit thinks some of what you received during the 2017 elections, they were caused by Costa naming your political leader as the worst dead-head walking, Kotolobo, all the kinds of bad characterization. I'm asking you, Cephas, as the young people head, do you people feel comfortable now working with Costa and think that he's the right person to work with?
So today when I look in the CC and I see Henry Family serving as acting minister of foreign affairs, the deputy minister there. Then few years ago, you wouldn't have think that Henry Family would be playing a role in the CDC. So there are times in politics we disagree, we agree. Henry Costa is one of our supporters.
And you enjoy his confidence and his all what it takes to get you to where you enjoy it, right?
I like the way you're trying to, mesmerize me to tell you what I'm not, I don't have the authority to say. The standard bearer of our party will trust his decision-making ability. This is why we exclusively give him that authority.
When you support and with your members, feel please when Ambassador Boaka announced a person like Costa to be his running mate?
Say whoever I said, even when I was telling about pick you. You go in the 2020 election. No, I come in. No, let me tell you how bad it is. In the 2020 election, you have a whole studio campaign for Tomo Fala saying a lot of things about the Unity Party, against the Unity Party candidates, and the CPP candidate. If Joseph Boaka pick you now, I will start supporting you. That's the responsibility we give our stand-up. It is constitutional. Whoever the stand-up pick, then I'll limit it to Jess, Costa, Nyomli, Jerry, Alexander Kumi, Tiago Konklo.
Do you ascribe to this belief that election or politics is about number?
So you gotta win, it's a number game. So you got to win or have numbers.
So you think among all the names you are hearing, which one of them can give you numbers when you listen to me. You said you want to win, right? And you want to win the equivalent. Among all the names you just mentioned, which one of them do you think will give you numbers to make you win, along with your standard bearer?
All of those people, they are all best suited for that position. Whoever is picked by the standard bearer, they are capable of attracting the number. And I know because our standard bearer is very excellent in decision making, he will select the best for the Unity Party and will trust the ability.
What he looks out for in his running mate.
The standard bearer, there are some characteristics that best known to himself.
But everything about the standard bearer you don't know, then how will you go defend this man? No, my man,
I think the standard bearer.
Everything about him you don't know.
I think the standard bearer.
Everything is about him. So how do you defend Ambassador Boaka?
I think the standard bearer is interested in someone who is a Liberian.
But I mean, who are they going to foreigner?
In the forward march of this country, someone who is interested in rescuing this country, someone who shares similar vision way to rescue this country, is someone that he's going to pick. So the standard bearer will obviously.
Okay, we have the head of the young people from Unity Party in person of Toga Melvin Cephas. He's my guest. And let me say thank you for coming. He did not let us down, and I want to really say thank you to him, even though the CDC guy, Emmanuel Johnson, did not turn up. And someone just said to me to say it's a fear, it's a sign of fear that maybe he cannot have such a debate. He's not strong to have a debate. I want to agree with you too as well. 07709079070, 07709079070, 08809079070 are the numbers. This is sometimes they kind of issue is not about education though. You can be educated but you don't know how to express yourself. I think it is what maybe the youth chair of CDC is escaping from. Hello?
Yeah, good evening, Segu.
Good evening, let's hear you.
And let me say good evening to your studio guest. My name is Andrew Moses, and Segu, I joined this conversation from District 13 this evening. You know, Segu, there are serious young people in the Unity Party. I'm even supporting one of them in District 13. But Melvin Seaforth's studio there is one of the unserious UTM Unity Party have ever produced. I'm saying this to say, Segu, this is the same Melvin Seaforth that was proposed to play that John April Johnson Church because he wanted to listen to him insulting President Weah. This is a Melvin Seaforth who come to sit for you in studio. He has not even done proper research. You are asking him questions that he's even struggling to answer. But let me just correct something that he said that was not that was totally wrong. The PFPD did not say they would give 1 million jobs. I want you to go back and read. The PFPD said in 5 years they will lift 1 million Liberians out of poverty. And in 5 years time, more than 2 million Liberians have been living out of
Thank you. Let me take another person here. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, how are you? Seku, this is Emmanuel Richardson, and I joined the conversation from Upper Carwell. And I listened to your studio guest. Look, we gave you Liberia for 12 years. Things that you people were unable to do in 12 years, you sitting in that studio and saying that President we have to do it in 5 years. Do you think it's possible? 12 years, you did not do the thing you're talking about. You said the other, you say, look, let me just say this to you, my brother. We're not talking about our general political party, but your unity party, you can go up, your cut down, you go in the air. President, we are with you, defeat your flat down because we know what we want. We know what we want with all the money that unity party going in this country here. At the end of the day, you are the up with bad roads, you are the up with bad health centers, you are just left on in.
Thank you. Let me take Popo pass away, unity party man. Hello.
Good evening to the youth here, Melvin.
Yeah.
I appreciate Melvin for the conversation. I think Melvin has brought so many sense to the disco. And Sekou, you keep asking personal questions about the standard bearer to Melvin. You don't expect the standard bearer personal decision making to be discussed with people in the party.
Oh, so you mean the man runs all of his activities by himself without any consultation?
When the Constitution of the Unity Party says that the standard bearer of the party should select a vice running mate, is squarely a responsibility guideline. If Melvin come and tell you that the standard bearer will select a short person, a tall person, a bright person tomorrow, and go to the contrary, you're not taking serious. That is why he told you over and over again that the constitution of the party gives the standard bearer the responsibility to select the person. And when the time comes, the time of the year, you hear the person name, you know the person, which kind of the person is beautiful, why the person is handsome, why the person is beautiful. So these are conversations we directed, that question we directed to the standard bearer.
How soon do we get the names of or the name of?
You know election October, very soon the standard bearer.
Popo, you aware of the trip your standard bearer made to Ghana?
Yes. That's a public information. The standard bearer went to Ghana. That's secret. The standard bearer didn't go over there. You know, you wish to say he used the RRA to go to Ghana. So people at RRA knew that standard bearer left the country.
You say you what?
He wished to say when you go to fly, you go over there. Let me just close on the point. I think the conversation is hefty, but you just show to the public that those guys in CDC are afraid of debate.
No, I want to agree with that. I want to agree, particularly Emmanuel Johnson, the youth chair.
Yeah, most times they just say to the party, yeah, be reckless statement, yeah, you saw people, yeah, come with allegations to come to the public. That area where you provide argument to justify your over there intellectual skill that you brag about over the years, you refuse. You just brag that you say you got master's degree, come and face it, and then master's degree candidate, you are afraid to come to the studio, but you get a course to go to cities, you're going to get you saw people all around the
Thank you, my brother. Let me take another person. The lines are bustling. You're the Emmanuel. At the appropriate time, he will learn the hard way. Hello. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Sekou, and let me say the pleasant good evening to Melvin Seaforth. My name is Sekou Abdurrahman Islam Franklin Kawa, and I'm in Cornwall District number 11. And Sekou, let me commend you for the show and for having Melvin on your platform this evening to discuss cross-section of critical national issues in the interest of the Liberian people. And I think Melvin spoke well. But one thing the guys from opposite the losers they do not understand is the technique of journalism and interview that you are applying in studio tonight with Melvin. And they expect Melvin to answer the way you want him to answer. Forgetting to know that there are things that you want Melvin to allude to tonight that does not fall within his purview, and that is the technique that most journalists do not understand. Even people in the journalistic field, that's why you are applying to them. And thankfully, Melvin understands those techniques, and he has managed to actually, conduct himself in a manner and form where he will not be indicted tomorrow. Should the Senate Bureau, make a decision on the contrary of what you guys or all of us are thinking about. And I think you are proceeding rightly, and let not anybody, or straight you away from the core issue. The Unity Party took Liberia from nowhere and left Liberia to somewhere where we thought that President.
Okay, thank you. Let's take another person here. Hello.
Good evening, Sekou.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Alvin Bella, and I come from the UN draft. Let me appreciate this evening for the talking point, and also let me appreciate Almighty God for pouring breath into us, our voice to be heard. Look, let me say this. These guys are jokers. The only thing I got to tell you in studio, let me keep it black by 2029 because they coming election. Put this October election. I don't care how the talk with God or the power of God. They said we are going to be re-elected as the president of the Republic of Liberia. Because President we are convincing the citizens to know that he remains the president of Liberia. The 12 years, or we get it to that. The only thing we have a lot of opportunity which we score. So now what other opportunity that one has score, on the carry one bit. When Mother Cannabis get the ATA, we told that marking thought. Here, Jonah Juma brought out 500 tractors. When I talk about today, like, Roma supposed to be close. All the things that you have in our mainstream, you want to lay the business for the one of them, he doesn't get it political respect. That political respect can never have a whole year in front of that. But political go. All that respect is like very good have resolved.
Thank you. Let's take another person. Hello.
Let's say that good evening, my little momentum teacher,
Yes, good evening.
Lilo, for Debao SPA in looking down Kaken, and my name is Alexander Obama Putu Yan, the St. Alaxico Commander Sheriff Ian Tiki. Lilo, I started killing and I listened to the doctor for what has to question that literature emanating from the angle of the guy who gambled this country for 12 years. When Joseph Imam Brecker says there's all of the opportunities, basically, you must understand the contents of his argument. It was over the white poor as president of the Liberia city when the book of agreement. These are opportunities with that discussion. Where was he when the daddy ball of Manchester gave with the national opening of the bureau? Where was he when the former Auditor General of the Republic of the Bureau in prison for drugs? But Presto is very clear when he said that government is still corrupted and government on the state of the end. But you come to the Presto, you not on it, but you come with discretion. And I want them in my topic call, there's no tangible that hey, the product choose to bring on this happen.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Hello, Sekou.
Yes, good evening.
And let me say good evening to my brother from the Unity Party, even though I'm not from Unity Party.
This is Lumet, DJ Lumet.
Yeah, this is DJ Lumet.
One of our regular callers and followers. Go ahead.
Look, Sekou, was in the time, Unity Party had the will, and they had the intellectual, and they had the president that could move. I say this, look at Sevelin. The same army that were here, army was in Sevelin. But today, Manabio is making the case that Sevelin is getting money from the world over like Liberia. Manabio is still going up the ability, even when Liberia leader, yes, Manabio left from here, they went to China when Liberia president, we are king with here, Tamapa king with Risuswa, what we got. But Seven went, they kept the process and taking Seven. Today they went to address the United Nations. When they were leaving, President we are came here that all things are better. In fact, our country will be better. But when Madam went to Seven, we saw people that is scary. What the president will make up this time, he left on yet, he made for the some more days or so. We need to come back and tell us, oh God, 50 million. What are you seeing that 50 million? We ever seen it? Look, the president will go outside and just lobby for himself according to Mobile Molu. And you are asking on the president, I mean the vice president, can you watch the vice president? The vice president said and make a people that because is there. She said, yes, Omer Baka said the bottom money that left in your pocket, she tell it over to me, the woman will lie. It's not something that will put in your mouth. And this thing is talking about say, oh, the red project, that red project, well now a government project. It was individual that went credited money and made when it came to time made.
Okay, Lomas, thank you very much. This person, good evening.
Good evening, Sekou.
Thank you. And let me say good evening to my student brothers in the house. Because let me say many thanks to you. You articulated very well, and we know those Canada from the opposite, those cartel, they are suffering from political parties. You know, under no condition, you will bring any other person to come and deal with on the issue. They will shy away from the microphone. I challenge you know that. And you know what? All those guys are passing around in Florida here that GMP have taken off Mr. Emmanuel Foster as running mate. That is a gossip. And in fact, I can tell it again that Honorable Foster is not going to be Emmanuel Foster. I can tell you that for free. And no one should be fighting about the women of the running mate.
Okay, thank you. Let me take more calls here tonight. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Jones K. Betty calling from the show this evening.
Let's
even to your guests in studio.
Yeah, where, like, let me just borrow the phrase from you, a normal political chicanery. It's fair to say that, President, we have received 13 million when you are a peace ambassador. As for giving the link that, President, we have squandered, which of course we couldn't provide. This is a normal way of politics people operate in this country. They bring forth lies to the disco that they cannot authenticate. Once you ask it, well, I'm so grateful you are not the kind of journalist who just allow people to go with lies. And another aspect of it, he spoke of rural connectivity, looking at economic dividend. Let me just give you an example of the community role. There's economic dividend. See that you have found people building filling stations, people are building gas houses, people are building shop stores and whatever. And it continues to lead to economic activity, and it brings about employment. And all those stores and people are building based on that people get employed. So I wonder we selling agriculture or bring about employment. I find it difficult to understand argument. When you know now there's a usual politics in this country, is how people move about. But let me just tell you, the party, Unity Party, can no day excel to that podium. No, for the president.
Okay, thank you. Another person, hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Joshua Willis calling from Satan.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just want for the chairman studio there to understand that the vice president position is not a ceremonial position. It's a position that you are in waiting to become president just in case resignation or whatever. So we will not just sit on air and say that Joseph Boga pick anyone going to support him. But you should pick somebody that is competent to become president just in case that he is no more whatever. So we're not going to accept just anyone. You should pick somebody that's capable of being president just in case. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, this person. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
This is Nathaniel Kumia calling from Carwell.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let me appreciate studio there. And I said it all different. You know, things they go make things all different. For me, even who told you that when you being scratched for the web of leadership, so you are lacking a lot of leadership. Getting me?
Go ahead, live.
To be frank. But then we are to be frank. He's not an ethical leader to be frank. Let's start from the southeast to be frank. Look at the how they call it, look at for animal bowler to come to Christian. See that will be bad before. But see,
Okay, thank you. We're reducing the number of minutes now because no time. This person, hello.
Hello, good evening, Siku.
Good evening. Go ahead, let's hear you.
Thanks ever so much. Let me say good evening to your studio guest. My name is Melvin T. Brown. I'm calling you. I'm a resident in district number 14. I listened to your studio guest. I think the first caller made the clarity. I think there's a distinction between giving 1 million to a job and living them out of poverty. I think it takes somebody who reads extensively to make such common error. Secondly is that he talked about people who were part of their shit when they were squandering opportunity at serving in this government. That's why President remains the beacon of peace and hope and inspiration. During that term, they took our parents, our president out of job. But for them, the president incorporated whosoever, whether opposition or imposition. It was a very hard decision to make, but because it lies in the preview of the president, that's the reason why these people he I call are still within his employ. When president took over, he appointed the vice and a barrel. Then, if it was then, they wouldn't have done it. Let me say something here. This country is on the record trajectory. President Weah is proceeding very well. That is the reason why. That's the reason why we are glad that he will be re-elected.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll take roughly 2 more calls. We'll go back to our guests to wrap up. Hello. Yes, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening, my dear brother and friend. Good evening to the voice of Liberia family and to my several Liberians on Radio Land this evening. By the way, introduction, I'm Alfonso A.F. Camara, calling from district number 10, our resident transformer community this evening. Thank you very much for your topic on the discussion and to our panelists in studio here. You see, this our brothers then, for that side, we talk about rudeness. I'm sorry for the expression. They are good at that. We talk about arrogance. They are good at arrogance. We talk about to discuss the political issue, to bring the facts to the disco. They are lazy. They don't discuss the issue, but they hate the personality. And we don't play politics like this. We saw this guy under the supervision of early justice administration over the past 12 years. We saw how leadership constituted and how maintain this country to where we are today. It's so frustrating. For the head of the team.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, this person. Hello. Good evening.
What's up, man?
Yeah, good evening. Go ahead.
This is Emmanuel Smith. And I'm from District.
Okay.
I call basically to commend Joga Melvin Stevens of the Unity Party. You have done extremely well as the argument you have put forward. And I don't be carried away by people who wanted to commit suicide in this time. I ain't not there for some of us, who contributed to his red state issue then by now. One of your callers who called for.
Hey, remember, don't be personal about go to the issue.
No, but they not call me, but you gotta asking me. So I'm just saying to my brother in studio, don't be carried away by people who wanted to commit suicide because they don't have money to pay rent. At the end of the day, we have to collect money, put it around, and give it to him. Today, he able to pay his rent and he's making big money for the government.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Let me take the last person. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is James Fogba, calling from Upper Power.
Yeah, Fogba, go ahead.
Thank you very much. The brother, I will applaud the brother in the studio there. Do not allow them to pick your mouth. Do not give any answer. Let the pastor or with person announce it. Please, I beg you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we go back to our guests now. We're taking calls again. You all hold the calls. The calls are many. We ain't taking calls again. You listen to all the callers. What have you to say?
Well, and Sekou, let me say thank you to all of the callers, and I will respond to just a few of them. Especially one of the callers who talk about the president have lifted over 1 million Liberians, over 2 million Liberians out of poverty. And I'm about to share a link with you. Right now, let me share the link before and I begin to talk, right? And there's a survey conducted in over 190 countries. So I already shared the link with you.
Okay.
So now this survey is conducted in
conducted by who?
concerning over 190 countries by the World Bank. It shows that Liberia has the higher percentage of young people in West Africa that are opting to permanently migrate to another country for better life. If you read out, and specifically check on page 33 of that World Bank report, if you check on it, you see. So we got 70% of Liberian young people.
So what that means?
So it means that if you say that the president have lifted over 2 million people out of poverty, so while over 70% of our young people are opting to leave this country for better life, they are opting to leave this country for better life. It tells you that the president have failed in that their period of the PAPD to create avenue to live 1 million people out of poverty. Where you live, 70% of our young people in this country don't even reach 2 million. So if you claim that the president have lifted over 2 million people out of poverty, then while 70% are then opting to leave this country to find better life, it means that there are been too much hardship in this country. And that's what we are conducting in 2021. In 2021, so it means our young people are suffering in this country. So the president have failed. He had not lifted 1 million people out of poverty. Nowhere the research is there. And there are others that we could name to move on. Some of those surveys and research that we could name and move on to list. We thought our counterpart were going to come and we're going to go into this intellectual conversation, but because it did not come, we're being more political and what have you. And we are hoping that the CDC will come to this kind of discourse. I told you, Sekou, when you call me, I told you on the phone. I was clear. I said that the CDC youth chair will not come for us to have this conversation because they are not up to the task to have this kind of frank conversation and intellectual discourse to discuss the issue. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't come. And you convinced me that the reason I came even prepared to come was because I said, okay, since I was on Liberia and I Sekou that a man will feel more protected and now more independent.
Oh, so you burn me now as a man?
Hey, my man, but poor man, that one is clear. Except that the new force of Liberia, the Sekou I know from Freedom FM, that the same Sekou I know you to be the man. So except that you proved to me that the new force of Liberia is more independent now.
So how do you term it now?
So no, I need to see more of you. So this is
so I need to justify to you now.
You need to justify that you are independent.
So what do I say to benefit and justify?
No, it's not to me. It is to the audience. Not let me see you as being a CCT. It's to the audience. So I'm just a single person. But when you start to, be more independent, people will see that. So I just said that maybe you're going to come. But however, we are open to this conversation, to have a conversation with you. We are just a phone call away to discuss the issues with the young people of this country, and we know vast majority of the young people in the country are affected by the bad governance process of President Weah, and we all know that.
Toga Melvin Seaforth, I want to say thank you for coming, and our doors are open to you. Anytime we can have these kinds of conversations, as we all discuss the issues for the betterment of Liberia. I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will meet a business office to at least start playing some of our jingle.
Yes, we are open.
The National Youth Congress launched the photo awareness program 10 days ago, and we got our jingle on some of the radio stations.
Oh, we will appreciate it. It will help us to get few to buy
the other station, are trying to provide some discount. We're hoping that
we will do that. We'll do that.
Support our leadership.
This is a business environment. This is not for a political stuff. So we are open to do business with anyone from any of the political parties. We are willing. You can bring your jingle, and then the business people and you will have a discussion. And then Ali Mohammed, that can help us out to be buying some food, right?
Okay, thank you very much. When Pastor Jose Ima Boga is elected as president, you'll be one of those persons I will recommend.
Where you giving? Okay, see first. Thank you very much, man. I love the catering, and I want to say I'm very humble that you accepted our invite to have come and talk to the Liberian people. But let me just remind you again, for those of you just joining us, maybe you didn't listen from the initial stage of the conversation. And I'm not angry about this, but I think it's important to say, when people think they've arrived, and you live in that mindset, it puts you in a position that what you should achieve might not be possible. I'm saying this, I'm not knowing Emmanuel Johnson to be the way he is now. But sometimes little things change people. I'm not sure he's that engaged like the way he portrays himself to be. But this is not just about me, Sekou. I have been among talk show hosts in Liberia. We're having conversation, and they mentioned Emmanuel of declining last minute of time whenever he's invited on radio shows. Emmanuel, one of the things that helped all politicians in Liberia is the media. If you think you've come from a big political party that you can disrespect talk show hosts, or you can disrespect people when they call you, you accept. When the time is reaching and you say you will send somebody, you just or you've chair. Sometimes the posture you people can put out is what that gives you people the very problem that will start from the start of your journey. We invited you. We did not tell you to give a dime. Even though the way in which we wanted to plan the show, we wanted to take the radio to one of the hotels. But when we went there, the team went, we noticed that most of the hotels, by this hour, you have lots of, engagements, people leaving from one point and everything. So there could be some level of disturbance and everything. We said, no, we can use the studio. And if you knew for any reason you are engagement, this is a young man that every day he say he has a, if you knew you had an engagement, professionally as an educated man, you should have sent us a message. You did not do it. You allow us to send you a message as a reminder that your colleague arrived and we needed your presence. Let me say this to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you're not no big than the youth chair of Unity Party. You just the damn same youth chair of CDC, like the way he is the youth chair of Unity Party. What makes you so important than he does? The only thing is CDC that ruling government. The people been ruling before. And you both of you serve the same positions. I don't know, sometimes these things can fill your heads, eh? Oh, what better you than your colleagues? Sometimes you gotta be careful the way you do things and the way you see things. And this is what some of you in CDC can put your, and people that have served positions of such, they've been very humble. The likes of Jefferson Koji. If even you've invited Koji for any reason he's not for any reason he's not coming, that will be, you will understand. Then you just taking over the youth league. You've not even spent 2 months. Media people have started complaining about you. So you know what you're doing for yourself? Many days you will speak a remi where in CDC. You won't speak for the people right there. So I'm just telling you, because as for me, I will never ever invite you any longer. No matter whatever you say, I don't care. I'll never invite you. And the day I even be passing, I driving, I hear you on this radio, I will call the people to take you off. I will do it. Because the disrespect is too much. You've done this to me 3 times. I'm not talking in that kind of a thing. You've done it to me 3 times. You made me, I took my broadcast equipment from here, I carried to CDC. Your bosses, your big brothers in this game cannot do it to me. I accepted it. I arranged an interview with you. You make mockery out of me, I accepted. And I reached out to you again and talked to you, and I did not force you. You accepted. You said, I even sent you a picture. You said, you confirmed the picture to use. And we did it today. If for any reason you knew you couldn't come, some of these things you're doing, it just shows that maybe you're afraid. Maybe there are certain journalists you don't sit with them because Because as for me, no matter you, my friend, I interview you, Emmanuel, you will be forced to say the truth. It will not be your normal CDC interview things. No. But sometimes that is it. And I wish you all the best in your journey. I hope and pray for success in your youth chairman position as you govern the young people of CDC, as you move towards the October elections. But know that you have your role to play. We have our roles to play. You will not disrespect us like you've done, because we will not call you again. And sometimes too, you show your, like I said, it is not so much about the education. You can be educated to the extent you cannot express yourself. And this is what you've shown over time. Can't invite you, you say you can't, you can't invite you. Then you can't say medicine or who will come. It's a privilege for you, for some of us to interview you. It is not your right. And you're not one of the persons that will interview, that will think, say, oh, we've interviewed one of the one. No. No, it is not like that. We've interviewed people past you. We've interviewed people serve that position, and they've been very humble. But this of your attitude, not for us, because you will not do it to me again, because I will not invite you again. And nobody from here will invite you. They have other radio stations, you can go there. But, you know, because I don't want you to do it again, so I won't call you to say, come on, show. So if I want you to do it again, I will call you and say, come on, show. But we quit to be complacent with the young people. I think that's one of our problems. I'm saying this to you. You like it, you cut off speech from me. It doesn't do anything to me, in fact. As if to say nothing has happened. Ask some of the people you know about me. They will tell you how I do operate. I respect people, but I think people should respect me in return. So I want to apologize to our listeners. For those of you that follow our pages, we posted the picture of Emmanuel Johnson, the youth chair of CDC. He confirmed it. He accepted even the time I sent the flyers. In fact, he even asked me for the talking points. I sent them to him. He saw them. He approved them. I sent the flyer to him. He approved it. So it is not his first time. It is not his second time, but it is the third time in role that he has done it. I want to say thank you, my brother. I wish you and all the CDC youth lead people success. But let me say this. Before you make me say one day or say Oseku say, the radio station will not cover anything relating to CDC youth way. If the day I'm even driving, maybe some of my stars mistakenly, they won't know. Even when I say it to them, but I hear it on the radio. There where somebody will say I'm a dictator, because I will ask them to cut it off immediately. If it hurts the youth league of CDC, you'll go open your own radio. You'll go get your own, yeah? Okay, my name is Sekou Sharif. Tomorrow we'll be back here, and we'll give you the lineup for tomorrow's edition of the show. I want to say thank you to the youth chair of Unity Party, Toga Melvin Cephas, for honoring our invite to have come and address some issues to the Liberian people. Inshallah, with the blessing of my parents, we'll be back here tomorrow on the program.